Have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags. And let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view. And now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexaderm and see it work after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.
Ahead on American Sunrise Early Edition, still trying. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has been taking the lead, hard at work trying to set up a meeting between Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky. He's also trying to set up the security guarantees for Ukraine if it signs a peace deal. Maybe next, Marco will try to fix the New York Jets. Good luck on all that. Dear Letitia, please quit. That's what Justice Department prosecutor Ed Martin has written in a letter to the New York State Attorney General Letitia James, as it appears he has the goods on her alleged mortgage fraud and other crimes. Have they no shame? The Washington Post publishes a story with unnamed sources claiming Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's security detail is very expensive and extensive. Of course, no defense secretary has been threatened more than Hegseth. It's almost like the Post wants something bad to happen to him. It's been an unbelievable, or make that very believable, 24 hours when it comes to revelations about some very high-profile illegal alien cases. That includes news that the illegal alien who caused this deadly crash in Florida failed his driving test, but California gave him a license anyway. And now the New Jersey coastline is under a tropical storm warning, even as the worst of Hurricane Erin heads further east out over the Atlantic. Welcome to the beginning of the hurricane season, and welcome to American Sunrise Early Edition, which begins now.
Welcome to American Sunrise Early Edition, the show where faith, freedom, and the values that built this nation take center stage.
Your good deeds and bad deeds, that's how we're going to judge you.
Join host Jake Novak as he breaks down the stories that matter.
We will be letting the public know regularly what we have found.
American Sunrise Early Edition with your host, Jake Novak, starts now.
Hi, welcome to this Wednesday here on American Sunrise Early Edition. I'm Jake Novak. I know that Ben Bergquam has the Law and Border show here on Real America's Voice, but honestly, I feel like this week especially, every hour of this program could be dedicated to updates on the illegal alien situation and how so many politicians have walked out onto basically a field of quicksand willingly, and they just don't seem to ever learn their lesson. Someone who really knows a lot about illegal immigration is going to join us and help teach a lot of us what we need to know. He's John Thaler. He's an attorney, he's an author, and he's also, I believe, one of the best illegal immigration experts in the country. John, we had so many illegal alien controversies blow up in the faces of the open borders crowd just over the last 24 hours. I mentioned at the top of the show that the details about that illegal alien truck driver who couldn't even identify most of the street signs in his driving test, and that terrible accident in Florida that he caused. And then we also had this story. This is another video that came out of federal agents tackling a man, and the left-wing social media universe went nuts. Here's this video. Went nuts over it. They said, oh my God, this guy's crying. He said he didn't do anything wrong. And as you'll see, they start to tackle him. It turns out, John, that the man had an outstanding charge of sexually assaulting a child. I can't even say it because it's just so annoying. When will these people learn, John, to stop defending these horrific criminals, or at least wait?
Yeah, no, they haven't learned. And the fact of it is that, you just said something really interesting, that, this just happened, except this happens every day, and it's been happening every day for years. What you had was previously there was nobody to cover it because, prior to the Trump administration coming back into power, the Biden administration, really did a lot to suppress these stories. They didn't make the kinds of arrests that you're seeing now, and they didn't do the kind of work to publicize them that you're seeing now. So this was happening, especially in states like California and in Arizona, all the time. You couldn't go, a week without 2 or 3 good illegal alien stories where an illegal alien committed a crime, got arrested, and the news simply wouldn't report that they were there illegally. So this isn't anything new. So I don't think you're ever going to see a time probably where the mainstream media covers these stories the way they have to. And as you said, in that latter story, it was all about some poor guy crying in his car, not the fact that he was crying in his car because he was about to be taken to jail for child molestation.
Yeah, it's just incredible. And then some of the news media folks who got caught with this actually had the gall to respond saying, well, I didn't know he was an illegal alien with that charge against him when I went. That's right, you didn't know. If you don't know, please be quiet. Look, I do a lot of pontificating on this program, a lot of analysis, a lot of opinion. I wait to see some of the facts first. For crying out loud. I don't know why people need to be reminded of this. People with huge media contracts making a lot more money than I am who just jump out on social media. Jessica Tarlov was one of them from The Five, a few other people. Why they just can't wait, I don't know. Here's another person who should think first, and that's Mayor Michelle Wu of Boston. John, I've been talking about how this illegal alien thing in an eerie way, and I don't mean to completely compare it. But these mayors and governors who are going all out and threatening, and I really do mean that, threatening federal agents so that they can protect their illegal aliens in their towns. I'm sorry, they remind me of Southern governors and Southern mayors and Southern senators before the Civil War saying, don't you come down and try to get our slaves. That's what this sounds like. You think about what most of the illegal aliens get paid. Maybe they are slaves. This is such a bad look. I don't care where you're from. And Michelle Wu is coming off like an absolute secessionist here.
Well, look, one of the things that makes this country very, very special and separates us out from other countries is the concept of federalism. It's a term we hear all the time, but it's one we don't really talk about much. Federalism is about liberty. It's about e pluribus unum. It's about the concept that because we don't just have a centralized federal government, but because we have state governments, we have this kind of protection from a centralized authority. And that's terrific. That's what's protected our liberties for all of these years. And as you said, states are different, and there's a good reason for that. Our founding fathers intended that. But the problem is there's also something called the Supremacy Clause. And that's a clause in the Constitution that says that federal law is supreme to state law. Back about I think it's now almost 20 years ago, the state of Arizona came up with something called SB 1070, very famous at its time. And that was an attempt by the state of Arizona to regulate illegal immigration. And of course, what did all of the liberal groups do? What they do is they challenged it. They went to court and they said, Arizona can't do that. You cannot have SB 1070 because states are not allowed to control immigration. Immigration is a federal function only. All liberal groups joined in this lawsuit. It went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And of course, most of the law was found to be unconstitutional, not because it violated anybody's rights per se, but because under the Constitution, all of the issues regarding immigration and especially illegal immigration go to the federal government. So all the liberals celebrated this. Now, because it doesn't fit their narrative, they've taken the position that they can create laws in their states or in their communities, such as Boston, where they don't have to follow federal immigration law. And not only do they not have to follow it, they can essentially impede the work of federal agents who are trying to make arrests, simply because they don't like the policy. Well, this is the hypocrisy, on steroids. This is what the problem is. When it suits them to not have a state like Arizona, which was far more conservative then, enforce immigration, then that's fine. When it didn't make sense and they didn't want Greg Abbott in Texas to be able to put up, razor wire, to be able to put National Guard troops at the border, then that's fine. And states don't have any rights. The moment you encroach on their communities and on their states, such as Illinois and J.B. Pritzker's state, all of a sudden it becomes a state's right. It is about as hypocritical as you get, and it's really disgusting. Pick your poison, but you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, I think most people do see through this. John, another aspect of this is how much money is taken from taxpayers to accommodate the peccadillos of these politicians. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker pushing to make it an absolute permanent thing that illegal aliens in the state will get financial aid in Illinois colleges and universities. Again, to go back into history, Michelle Wu reminds me of secessionist senators and governors. J.B. Pritzker reminds me of the feudal kings of Europe who would take the taxpayers' money to collect taxes from the people of the lands to basically help fundraise for their own private armies and their own private bodyguards and things like that. This is what this is about, really. It's really ugly.
Well, it's really a problem too, and you see this in Boston, for example. Mayor Wu is using millions of dollars. It's not billions, but it's certainly in the high millions of dollars to be able to protect illegal aliens and to come up with programs. You just saw this in Los Angeles with Karen Bass, where they're turning over money, and the way they do it is they don't give the handout directly to the alien. What they do is they use the NGOs or other nonprofit organizations, provide the money to the nonprofits, who then in turn provide it to the illegals, and that's how they try to make it legal. In Illinois, as you pointed out, and it is true oftentimes in many states, including California, they'll give in-state tuition to illegals. So, there's all these different benefits that they get. Obviously, we've had the talk about, Gavin Newsom providing Medicaid to illegal aliens, and it required Congress to pass a law recently that said you can't do that. So you constantly have this carrot and stick incentive. If you can get over the border, we're going to take care of you. And, I guess, you could say, look, it's up to the people of Illinois to say, we don't want our tax dollars to be used this way. There's only so much the federal government can do. And the federal government has, as we've seen in the big, beautiful bill, tried to do that. But it's a waste of taxpayer money. In California, for example, that's in the billions of dollars. If you actually added up all of the money spent to protect and provide for illegal immigration, you'd be running about $10 billion in a state that's running a shortfall, of close to $70 billion. It's absolutely amazing. And in California, a lot of this has resulted in the negative population growth in, about 1 million Californians a year, leaving the state. In Illinois, people talk about New York and California, but Illinois is number 3. Illinois is number 3 in the country of people fleeing the state. This is just one of the many reasons.
Yeah. I wanted to set aside about a minute to ask you about the latest in your lawsuit against the city of Mesa, Arizona. Tell us how that's going and what that's about.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit more about that, even in general terms. The Justice Department has taken a look at what's in my book, Report to the Governor, and some of the other research done by Senator Mark Fincham, who is a state senator in Arizona, and has come into the state now with the FBI, with the Internal Revenue Service, and with other government agencies to examine the fraud and corruption that permeates Arizona. One of the worst offenders is the city of Mesa. The city of Mesa, for those who don't know, is a suburb of the Phoenix area. It's on the eastern end of the Phoenix Valley. Our lawsuit is about things that happened to me and things that happened to others, which is that the city of Mesa, in order to protect racketeering activities that members of the city are involved in, have essentially falsified evidence, falsified charges, violated constitutional rights consistently to be able to keep people like me from either investigating or reporting on our findings. So we have filed federal litigation under the Civil Rights Act, under what's called 42 U.S.C. 1983. It's what we call a 1983 lawsuit, alleging an array of civil rights violations. Ones that occurred to me, ones that occurred to keep me away from my son McKinley, which I think most of your audience knows about, and also to do this to other people. So you've got probably what we think is now in the tens of thousands of individuals who are falsely charged, falsely convicted, where judges were paid off, where officers were paid off, where documents were falsified, evidence was falsified in order to try to gain convictions. It is an absolutely disgusting mess of what abuse of power looks like, and what lawfare on kind of a lower scale than what we saw with Donald Trump happens every day to just average people to try to protect racketeering activities. So we're slowly pushing through that process. But fortunately, like I said, we now have the assistance of the FBI, the Justice Department, the IRS, and other federal agencies that that are now combing through our evidence and evidence gathered by others to try to put a stop to this. And it's not just, as we talked about in Report to the Governor, it's not just in Arizona. This is something that goes on in a lot of states across the country, and it's something that absolutely has to stop. And of course, it dovetails into the issue that's very near and dear to the president's heart, and that is election fraud. And one of the big issues that he's been talking about lately, which is the mail-in ballots. We in the book have a whole section on the mail-in ballot problem in Arizona and the amount of fraud that probably changed the election results in 2020, where the president lost by 11,000 votes, but probably actually won by about 25,000 votes. And we actually, in Report to the Governor, actually go through the math. Well, cities like Mesa, and you might remember in this last election cycle, the mayor of Mesa, who's now the former mayor, John Giles, actually supported Kamala Harris. Why did he do that? Because the illegal alien smuggling trade is absolutely huge in states like Arizona. And if you don't think it's government sponsored at the local, county and state levels, then you're not understanding the depth of the problem. And that's why it dovetails directly into what we were just talking about.
Yeah, well, please keep us posted on that. John Thaler, thank you so much for joining us. We will have you back, and please keep us posted, especially on this case against the city of Mesa. Okay, coming up, in a word, despicable. That's the only way to describe the Washington Post's latest attack on Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Emily Finn and I will discuss that in a moment. And later, Target reported falling sales yesterday. Now it's Walmart's turn. I'll have a look at those results and get a handle on the economy for you. This is American Sunrise Early Edition. Thanks for being here. Stick around.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff and less flexible? Do you have trouble sleeping? Are you less active than you once were? Introducing the EasyWell Remedy Massage System that combines the incredible effects of vibrational therapy, targeted deep tissue shiatsu massage, plus soothing infrared heat. A triple fusion of therapeutic experiences delivering health-boosting treatments to your body. Full-body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation, bringing relief to joints and muscles and reducing inflammation while supporting your overall mobility. Look at these beads moving from the powerful vibrational motors.
It's amazing. It's like 1,000 little fingers just vibrating my body from head to toe.
Infrared heat penetrates deep to relax and soothe your body, reducing joint pain and stiffness and increasing circulation.
Remedy gets in there and helps deal with the source of the pain, so you feel much better.
The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 infrared heated nodes is designed to mimic a professional massage specialist's hand kneading and working tight muscles in just the right way to bring maximum relief and pleasure. It is even detachable, allowing you to get a deep tissue relief in your upper and lower back, neck and shoulders, feet, calves, or anywhere on your body.
I can't even describe to you the feeling. It's just something that you're gonna have to feel for yourself.
Call or go online now to receive the Remedy Massage System. Your system includes the Zero-G memory foam layer, the vibrational infrared and ultra shiatsu therapies, the removable shiatsu pillow, remote control, and a convenient carry bag free. Just one massage visit can cost almost $100, but you can own the Remedy Massage System and have as many therapeutic treatments as you want. The sooner you order, the sooner you can experience the true remedy for your pain, stiffness, and stress. Call now.
Peaks Island, Maine. Another one of the states I lived in. Beautiful state. Definitely getting older, however. They need young people to live there. Welcome back to American Sunrise Early Edition. Speaking of younger people, joining us right now is Real America's Voice contributor Emily Finn. And Emily, there is no liberal media outlet that hates Pete Hegseth more than the Washington Post. I say that unreservedly. They remember during the confirmation process, they had story after story. They really hate him. And now they have another doozy of a piece using a bunch of unnamed sources to complain that Hegseth has too big of a security detail. And Emily, you just know that this has a lot to do with the fact that Pete Hegseth is an outsider. I mean, these are all the things the Washington Post doesn't like. He's an outsider in D.C. Washington Post is like a company paper for career bureaucrats and career Washington people, whether they call themselves Republicans or not. This is a guy, go ahead. I mean, this is just incredible piece. It's very disturbing, actually.
It really is disturbing when you think about this, Jake. I mean, the way that the Washington Post described this, and like you pointed out, he certainly has been a target of this newspaper even before he was confirmed as defense secretary. But the way they described his security detail was unusually large. And I'm sorry, but if the president of the United States, who I was serving under, was tried assassinated attempts twice, and you had constant threats against you as a defense secretary, you know that everyone else around you in the White House is getting threats every day. I don't know what's unusual about having such a large security detail. It seems like this is necessary in this situation for Hegseth.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like they're cheerleading for him to be attacked, and this entire article was a complaint that, well, you made it hard for us to rile people up to attack him because he has such a big security detail. It's really frustrating. I want to show you a video of something else. This is out in Redmond, Washington. This is the Microsoft headquarters, and this is a little bit less about politics and a little bit more about people who don't follow the news well enough to know what the heck they're doing. These are Microsoft employees starting an impromptu encampment, anti-Israel encampment. I don't know what the heck Microsoft has to do with Israeli policy. I don't know why these kids decide to, in these cases maybe adults, decide to protest against colleges and also tech companies. They really have very little to do with Israeli. It's the dumbest thing. But this is a real dumb thing about it, Emily. Maybe they should have looked at the news and maybe even this program, because a bunch of Google employees tried something similar last year. And guess what, Emily? They are now ex-Google employees. I guess these people better have another job lined up because they're going to get fired too. Microsoft can just point to Google and say, hey, they did it. We'll do it too.
Yeah, hopefully Microsoft does step up pretty quickly here. But Jake, the one thing that stood out to me the most about this encampment, they're calling themselves the Martyred Palestinian Children's Plaza. And when you start bringing children into this, you really can't pick sides. There are Israeli children that were killed in this war as well. It is really disgusting. It's outrageous. And like I said, I hope that Microsoft steps up and holds these people accountable. I mean, this is hatred that's happening at their companies right in front of their company.
So much political activism is really hatred. Do people who say they're pro-Palestinian really care about the Of course not, because there's so many more Muslims killed in other parts of the country, other parts of the world every single day, and they don't care about them. It's about hatred. Same thing with feminists and environmentalists. There are some real ones out there, but for the most part, they just hate certain other people. And this is an angry bunch of children, really, saying that they're upset that they can't show their hate at work. It's really, these people really also need mental health care. Emily Finn, thank you so much for joining us. I'll rejoin. We'll be talking again about the economy at around 9:20 or so. Looking forward to that. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jake. See you then.
All right. Is the continued divide between President Trump and the Federal Reserve putting us behind the curve again? Can the Fed take the right action at the right time, or are we going to be looking at another potential economic slowdown? Well, what does this mean for you and your savings? Consider diversifying with gold through Birch Gold Group. For decades, gold has been viewed as a safe haven in times of economic stagnation, global uncertainty, and high inflation. And Birch Gold makes it incredibly easy for you to diversify some of your savings into gold. If you have an IRA or an old 401k, you can convert that into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Or just buy some gold to keep in your safe. First, get educated. Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. Just text America to the number 989898. Again, text America to 989898. Consider diversifying a portion of your savings into gold. That way, if the Fed can't stay ahead of the curve for the country, at least you can, and you can stay ahead for yourself. Coming up, remember when I told you off-roading vehicles were going to be more popular than EVs pretty soon? Well, they probably are already, and Ford just did something that I think proves me right. That story and the rest of Moving America when American Sunrise Early Edition comes right back.
To avoid digital threats, just turn on NordVPN. Improve your protection against trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. Get the deal now.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
Your wallet is always in danger. Criminals can hack your information without you even knowing. Introducing Slim Mint, an ultra-thin RFID blocking wallet that keeps your cards and cash protected. Slim Mint uses the latest RFID blocking technology to prevent thieves from stealing your info. It's ergonomically designed to optimize space and keep your belongings organized. With the auto-locking Slim Mint, your cards and money stay securely in place. It has a built-in cash clip and a flexible outer band to fit your additional cards and cash. Call or click now and get Slim Mint for just $29.99. Order in the next 5 minutes and you'll get an instant $10 discount. So it's only $19.99. But wait, due to rising costs, this may be your last chance to get Slim Mint at this low price. There's a strict limit of 3 Slim Mint wallets while supplies last. Don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-608-4172. Call or visit slimmintwallet.com. So call 1-800-608-4172 now.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
That's the Jersey Shore. The Jersey Shore getting hit by the little aspects of Hurricane Erin, which are causing a heavy surf there, maybe a little bit of flooding, but as you can see, it's not all that bad there. You've got people running, working out. We really dodged a bullet with Hurricane Erin. Thank goodness for that. Let's take a look at where the markets will begin today. We've got some red arrows here. Again, the market's still really waiting on the Fed for direction. So there you have it. You're going to have a lower open, although the last few days you've had gains in the Dow and losses in the S&P 500. So take that for what that's worth. And now let's take a look at Bitcoin, because Bitcoin continues on a downward trajectory right now, $113,000 level. It's definitely selling off a bit. By the way, I've lately been noticing that Bitcoin and the stock market have been kind of moving in tandem. For a while there, they used to move in different directions. But now when the stock market goes down or treads water for a while, so does Bitcoin. I think that means that some of the stock market investors, when they get big profits on their stocks, they put a little bit into Bitcoin. I think that's what's going on right now. Things might change soon. We'll see. Bitcoin, of course, still very close to its all-time high. It has been a tremendous winner as an investment. Don't mean to pour cold water on it. Okay, Walmart reported its earnings just in the last few minutes, and here's what came out. Basically, unlike Target, Walmart says that their sales increased compared to the same period last year, and Walmart is increasing, adding up to their forward forecast for earnings and sales. So Walmart with better numbers. Now, right now, the stock is down in the pre-market because of some other things that don't have anything to do with the economy. They've got some legal issues and other problems right there for them, at least in the next couple of months. But in general, Walmart is seeing increased sales and expects that to continue when their competitor Target saw a decrease. So again, once again, Walmart really encroaching on Target's money right now. Now, speaking of Target, yesterday, again, as I said, they reported that their sales are down, and they replaced their CEO, Brian Cornell. Now, this was not an ouster. Cornell had been scheduled to retire. He's going to leave in February 2026, and they are going to replace him with his number 2 man, Chief Operating Officer Michael Fidelki, and investors really didn't like that news. They wanted an outsider. They like very much what Brian Cornell has done in his 14 years as CEO, but not what he's done in the last couple of years. Remember, they went woke, then they went not woke. Now people on the right and people on the left are boycotting Target. They wanted somebody else with a new vision, and what they got was someone who basically apprenticed under Cornell, so they were upset about it, and Target shares at the end of the day lost 6%. Bed Bath & Beyond says crime and other economic conditions in California are so bad that it will not open a new retail store in that entire state. And instead of trying to address that problem, maybe try to alleviate their fears, California Governor Gavin Newsom decided to be the nasty man that he is. By the way, that's his new branding. The last couple of years, he's just tried to be nasty, and Democrats love it, by the way. He shot back at Bed Bath & Beyond, reminding folks that Bed Bath & Beyond is a shrinking company. Yes, they have closed a lot of stores in a lot of places. That's all true. But is that how you want to respond when a company says that crime is really bad in your state and we can't open businesses? It's not just Bed Bath & Beyond that's leaving the state, Gavin. Either don't respond publicly, or maybe call them up, or maybe call up some of the other business leaders in the state and ask what you can do to make it better for them and their employees. Instead, he went for a nasty post on X and on his other media platforms. Just incredible. But I got to tell you, the Democrats love it. They think nasty is what America wants. It isn't, but they want it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. This is Moving America, sponsored by Artillery Tea Company, artilleryteaco.com. Use promo code RAV for 10% off your first order. Artillery Tea is all natural, whole leaf. The tea bags are chemical free, and each tea bag can be used twice. Artillery Tea Company is family and veteran owned and operated, and a portion of your purchase goes to help veteran and first responder charities. Artilleryteaco.com, promo code RAV for 10% off your first order. Hertz is teaming up with Amazon to sell used cars on the newly expanded Amazon Auto site. Now, that was great news for Hertz investors. They love that. That's a whole new marketplace for them to sell their used cars. So Hertz shares went up 6%. But here's the story that you know I'm going to talk about now. Carvana, which is basically the same exact business model as Amazon Autos. Amazon Autos basically copying the Carvana model. And this news about an expanded number of cars for sale hurt Carvana. Carvana shares are down 2%. Now, I did a big mea culpa on this program a couple of weeks ago because when Amazon Autos announced that it was going to sell used cars, I rang the alarm bell about Carvana saying, hey, Amazon's getting into somebody else's business again, and you know what happens when they do that. They usually end up killing it. And then Carvana shares went up anyway, so I apologized when I said, hey, I really thought their shares were going to go down. Well, maybe it was just a matter of time. Maybe now is when investors will realize that Amazon is threatening Carvana with this Hertz deal and some other things like that. I don't wish ill on the company at all. I like their little ads, but honestly, this would scare me if I were in their business. All right, here's another thing I want you to remember that I told you about. Last month, I told you that off-roading, cars that can go off-road, was the hottest new trend in the automotive business. And Ford thinks so too. CEO Jim Farley is teasing the upcoming production of a super off-road vehicle that will combine aspects of the Ford Bronco Raptor that you see right there and the Ford F-150 pickup Raptor that you'll see in just a moment. Now, Farley says the vehicle that they're thinking of building will also be 1,000 horsepower, but it will also likely list for $300,000. So you must really, really love off-roading if you're going to buy that vehicle. But again, mark my words, there's going to be more demand for off-road vehicles than EVs in about 5 years or so. By the way, it might already be there, but that's what I'm predicting. If you're looking for a bargain, though, less than $300,000, you just have to say you own a luxury car. If you're one of those people, Acura has a deal for you. Acura parent Honda says the new base model of the 2026 Acura Integra will list for $34,595, making it the least expensive luxury make that you can buy in the U.S. And for that, you get the Acura name and a new 9-inch touchscreen to replace the old 7-inch model. Hey, that's progress. Look, they make good cars. That's all I can say. But if you need to have a luxury car, there you go. That's the cheapest you're going to get. And now for something completely different. Getting back to Ford. Ford's new Transit Super Van 4.2 took on that punishing German racing ring I've been telling you about. It's called the Nürburgring. And it turns out the van, not kidding, the van put in a better time than the Corvette ZR1X. The time was 6 minutes and 48 seconds to complete the ring. The next time that cargo van is stuck in Manhattan traffic going 1 mile in about 3 hours, I'm sure the driver will be happy to know how fast it could be if it weren't Manhattan. I mean, honestly, this is kind of cool, but I'm wondering what the use of this will be. Maybe it's to try to sell it to Amazon to get people's packages faster. I'm not really sure. All right, coming up. It looks like the mortgage fraud evidence against New York Attorney General Letitia James is so strong that Justice Department prosecutor Ed Martin is giving her a special option. I will explain. And just how bad is all the evidence that some of the nation's top banks really did kick customers out just because of their right-wing political leanings? The latest debanking scandal news when American Sunrise Early Edition returns.
Sometimes business travel takes you to Chicago, Amsterdam, Los Angeles, New Delhi, Tel Aviv, or Tokyo. And sometimes to Count of Air. Here at Book a Limo, we think globally. We think business, your business. It doesn't matter where you go. No place is too far. We're there for you.
What's your destination? Book a Limo. Any car, anywhere.
Mama, look. It's just like our new house. Warranty! I hope you have an American Home Shield warranty. Leaky toilet? Fixed. Clogged AC coils? Fixed. Oven beyond repair?
Ta-da! If AHS can't fix your covered item, then replace it, no matter its age.
A warranty is smart.
Oh, a happy family. Is that us? Too much? American Home Shield. Sign up today at ahs.com.
Don't you hate that dirty old hose? It kinks, splits, and it always leaks. And it's way too heavy to carry around. It's time to get the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead. Just turn on the water and watch it grow to a full-size hose. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the new Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees. Just connect to the spigot and watch it pivot. And when you turn off the water, away it goes, shrinking back to a pocket-size hose. And it makes it easy to carry and put away. Call or go online now to get the super light 25-foot Pocket Hose Copperhead today for only $29.99. Order right now and get our 10-pattern thumb drive spray nozzle free. Simply use your thumb to turn it on or off. There is a strict limit of 3 per order, so don't wait. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-956-8517 or visit getcopperhead.com. So call 1-800-956-8517 or visit getcopperhead.com. Order now.
It's Thursday, August 21st. Here are this morning's top stories. Still trying. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has been hard at work trying to set a meeting between Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky. He's also trying to set up the security guarantees for Ukraine if it signs a peace deal. If anyone can do it, he can. But boy, these two guys, they're not going to cooperate. You just know it. Dear Letitia, please quit. That's what Justice Department prosecutor Ed Martin has written in a letter to New York State Attorney General Letitia James, as it appears he has the goods on her alleged mortgage fraud and other crimes. Have they no shame? The Washington Post publishes a story with unnamed sources claiming Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's security detail is very expensive and extensive. Of course, no defense secretary has been threatened more than Hegseth. It's almost like the Post wants something bad to happen to him. And now the New Jersey coastline is under a tropical storm warning, even as the worst of Hurricane Erin heads further east out over the Atlantic. Welcome to the beginning of hurricane season. American Sunrise Early Edition continues now. Well, again, welcome back to American Sunrise Early Edition. It is a Thursday. Special welcome to those of you on the Getter and the Rumble chats who are up, watching, commenting, giving me critiques. Some of you guys giving me a shot in the arm. Hey, I can take either one. Thank you so much for that. Joining us right now is the co-founder of the American Conservative Values Investment Fund, also known as an ETF. His name is Tom Carter. And Tom, because you're a financial guy, I got a lot of fastballs to throw at you today. No curveballs. But the first one has to be about Letitia James and this mortgage fraud thing. I think the fact that Ed Martin has written her a letter and allowed that to go public, telling her to resign, that tells me, and this is something that I think you agree with, that tells me that he's probably got the goods on her. This kind of mortgage fraud for politicians is very common. I'm not excusing it. What I'm actually doing is the opposite. I'm saying this is actually something that should have been cracked down on a long time ago. Hey, mortgage fraud like this is actually no laughing matter. It's definitely money out of the pockets of some of the municipalities who end up giving these people double tax breaks, isn't it?
It is, and you know the irony. Excuse me. The irony is that it's a very similar crime that she went after President Trump for, and here she is committing those serious crimes as well. And you know, I was at a conference a couple of weeks ago where they outlined some of what she did on her mortgage applications, and it's pretty serious stuff. You know, she was misrepresenting the number of units in buildings that was getting her lower interest rates, that was also getting her government loans that were much less expensive than kind of what you would find in a normal retail aspect. And then you use you use a weaponized justice system to go after President Trump, and you say Mar-a-Lago's worth $18 million when everyone knows it's worth multiple times that. So I just find the irony interesting, and I agree with Mr. Martin that Ms. James should resign. And if you're running, if you're the main law enforcement officer in the state of New York and you're committing crimes on mortgages, you should step down and you should just mea culpa, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's petty, grubby stuff. Like you're ripping people off. You're ripping the taxpayers off for what? I mean, for something that you don't really. I'm sure she'll be fine without whatever break she got from it. Now, I told you this was widespread, Tom. So speaking of mortgage fraud, it's not exactly a new epidemic, but it's certainly an epidemic because now we have FHFA Chief Bill Pulte saying he has the goods on a Fed governor, one of the people who decides on interest rates. Her name is Lisa Cook. He's saying that she should step down. She's pushing back, saying, no, I shouldn't, but also for a similar type of mortgage fraud situation. Now this, Tom, I got to get your comment on, because here is someone who really should know better. I'm not excusing Letitia James, but Lisa Cook is a financial expert. She knew exactly what was going on here. This in many ways is even more egregious.
Well, certainly, again, taking advantage of the system and probably coming from someone who knows the system very well. And Ms. Cook, it sounds like, did take advantage of the system, again, lying on mortgage applications, doing things that got her lower interest rates, possibly even, taking, again, government interest rates that you said these municipalities are subsidizing and taking actually away from taxpayers, if to be proven. So again, agreed on this. She should resign. She should step down. And if you're going to be on the Fed Council, if you're going to be a governor on the Fed Council, please don't commit mortgage fraud. That is what we're going against. What you should be focusing on is lowering interest rates and getting behind President Trump's government policies to expand the economy, as opposed to committing mortgage fraud. and obviously that's an easy answer. But I mean, you're forcing us to come up with these easy answers because you're doing things that aren't very smart. So I agree with you.
Yeah, and like I said, remember, it's very widespread. Anyone watching this program now and thinking, we're only ganging up on women or black women who are don't forget, Adam Schiff is also being probed for this, and he's in big trouble over this. Honestly, I'm sure that there are a lot of Republicans, swamp creatures in D.C. who've been doing this too. This is very widespread, and if you do it and you call yourself a public servant, which was one of my big pet peeves, these people who get rich while they're working in the public service. It's really very, very angering, and it's probably one of the reasons why they were afraid of President Trump getting reelected, because he's going to look at stuff like this. All right, now to another scandal with some other types of victims. We're getting more and more details now about the extent of what I call not just me, the de-banking scandal. Big banks in America who just suddenly told some of their customers, we don't want your business anymore, because you're a conservative, because you're aligned with certain right-wing causes. Not because they've got goods on you that committed some kind of a crime. That would be one thing. But they really did try to get rid of some of these people. And we know President Trump, in some ways, was a victim of it as well. What are some of the takeaways you take from this, Tom?
Well, none of this surprises us. When we started the fund going on 4 years now, there were a number of banks that we knew were debanking conservatives. And whether that was gun companies, whether that was Christian activist companies, things like that, we knew they were being debanked. And so there were several banks that we boycotted when we started the fund, including Bank of America, including JP Morgan. So they were on our boycott list because we knew they were debanking. Most recently, what we have done is we have actually put some shareholder proposals on banks' proxies that ask them to commit to not debanking conservatives. And we think that might be a road to go down for conservatives as well. We just put one in about 3 months ago on U.S. Bank, asking them to commit not to debank conservatives, whether, again, that'd be Christian organizations, that'd be gun or ammunition organizations. Any kind of conservative organization has a chance to be debanked, and so we're asking them to commit not to debank those folks. And I agree with you. One of the reasons the Trump family is so into crypto, and I've heard them say this themselves, is because they were debanked by so many banks. And obviously they run huge businesses, and banking is very important to them. So this is a real thing. I wish those unnamed sources would be named sources. I'd like to hear actually who is saying that they were pushed to debank people. But we knew it was going on for a long time. And we took action to either boycott the companies who were doing this and or put shareholder proposals into their proxy statements to ask them to commit not to debank. We think it's a serious issue, and we're hoping that with Trump in and his executive order, this actually changes. So I think it's a big issue, and we've been on it for a while.
Yeah, I mean, this can't help their bottom lines. I mean, not only just because of the aggregate number of customers that they are now reducing coming into their bank, but obviously there's some people who are going to get turned off. Do they think that maybe there's going to be some other big liberal-leaning funds or investors who will now rush to their bank just because they kicked out some small-time, again, relatively small, not President Trump, but there's some small-time investors that got kicked out also, which couldn't possibly have done much. Do you think they were trying to do that, or was this just so they could go to a cocktail party and say, I kicked out that gun company today, and maybe get another free drink or a pat on the back?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the woke mindset set in to a number of these executives at these banks, to your point, where they could talk to their liberal friends about what they were doing with their banking. I think there might have been some regulators that were pushing banks to debank, probably larger conservative organizations. But whatever the reason is, your political affiliation, your religious values, things like that should not be reasons that you are not able to get a bank account or not be able to push things through a bank. So whatever the reasons were, they were wrong. And the executive order we're in favor of, and we hope that banks commit to not debanking conservatives in these channels.
Yeah, and that's the part, you mentioned the thing about the regulators. We know that under the Obama administration, Lois Lerner running the IRS, absolutely singling out and going after conservative groups, taking away their tax-free status. This would not surprise me if people over in some of the banking regulation offices were doing something similar. That would not surprise me, and we need to get more information about all this. All of it needs to come out. Listen, while I have you here, I got to get your take on the economy. We've seen, again, the last GDP report was that we had robust growth at 3%. I understand some of the fears about going forward, especially with these high interest rates and some nagging inflation. It's not completely gone, although it's definitely better than it was under Joe Biden. How do you feel like things are going? We just got Walmart's earnings, which I consider to be a very important economic indicator. And they did say, despite some of their internal issues, they did say their sales are up from last year, and they raised their guidance on sales. So, I mean, is that, I think that's a good sign.
I agree with you. I think that's certainly a good sign that Walmart, that obviously they are a consumer goods store, and their sales being up show that the middle class might be buying things more than we think they are. But I do agree with you. We said all along that Trump's policies are going to take a while to take advantage of and to grow this economy. Certainly decreasing regulation, certainly increasing energy production. The Big Beautiful Bill had to happen. Now, we're a little concerned about the amount of debt that's in the Big Beautiful Bill, but we think we can grow out of that and get to a number. But I agree with you in that, the next shoe that needs to drop is the Fed reducing interest rates, because we think that can really fuel the economy to keep going. So hopefully that happens. But we're not worried about the economy. Again, we knew that some of the Trump policies would take some time, and we're starting to see, to your point, inflation being still there, but coming way down from when we were just printing money under the Biden administration. We do think the economy is going to grow out of this, and we're pro-American economy. We're pro-Trump policies. We're pro the Big Beautiful Bill. So, we're excited about what the Trump administration is doing for the economy.
Yeah, one of the things you talked about, the deficits. One of the things that really caught my eye the other day was Standard & Poor's, the credit rating agency, saying they are not going to lower America's credit rating because of the revenues that are coming in from the tariffs, absolutely cutting down on the amount of the deficit they're projecting from the Big Beautiful Bill. That got me. I think that's really interesting for them to come out. They didn't have to say that. They could have kept it quiet. The fact that they're saying it must mean that they're a lot less worried.
Couldn't agree more. We were just talking about that in one of our investment meetings the other day, that S&P had come out and said, look, we're not going to downgrade. We're not going to downgrade the U.S. debt like they did. I don't know, what was it, 14 years ago or so.
2011,
and we didn't really love when they did it then, but I suppose they had to do it to react to what was happening in the economy. But we were happy with them to come out and say, they weren't going to downgrade. We would love to see them come out at some point and say, we're going to upgrade this because we think this is a robust economy, and the policies that are being enacted are going to be supportive of the U.S. Again, that being said, I think that debt needs to come down a little bit for that to happen, and I'd like to see some growth. Love the GDP numbers, but some growth out of the current deficit, I think, would be a great place to start.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Well, I remember when S&P did that, 2011, Friday night, they came out with the announcement. We all had to rush back to work. Tom Cotter, thank you so much for rushing and coming in with us today. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, coming up, Why do some members of the news media never learn their lesson just for their own reputations? They got another chance to be smarter yesterday when this video of an arrest in Washington, D.C. took place. And you know how that turned out. T. Bates and I will discuss when American Sunrise Early Edition comes right back.
He became one of the world's greatest leaders. He changed the course of history. Now, Lech Walesa, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, is coming to North America on his first ever Grand Lecture Tour. Be part of this historic event. Meet the global leader live on stage as he takes you behind the scenes of history's greatest turning points and the greatest challenges of our time. Join the conversation that will shape our future. Register now at historyexplorer.com.
Who wants to drag out a bulky vacuum? Introducing Horsepower Duck, a super compact vac with ultra powerful suction. Clean up that mess in the kitchen, the spill on the sofa, even sawdust in the workshop. Just duck it up. The compact design can reach the tightest places, so store it in any drawer where it's always at your fingertips. You can even store it in your glove box for the ultimate car vac. The HEPA filter helps remove dust and allergens. Plus, it dumps out with ease, so it's ready to clean again. Get the Horsepower Duck hand vac for just $39.99. Order right now and we'll upgrade you to the Duck Pro package, a $30 value, yours free. You get the bendable tube, the crevice nozzle, and the soft brush nozzle, but supplies are limited, so there's a strict limit of 3 ducks per order. This may be your last chance to get yours at this low price, so don't delay. Duck it up today.
Call 1-800-693-3440 or visit duckback.com. So call 1-800-693-3440 or visit duckback.com now.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
There you see a live shot of New York City. The Brooklyn Bridge is right in the middle of those two buildings. By the way, for those of you who want to know your East River bridges in New York, just remember BMW, going from south to north. Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, Williamsburg Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge right there, built in 1883. Another book suggestion, The Great Bridge by David McCullough, a fantastic book about the building of that bridge. All the amazing stories there. All of David McCullough's books read like, you read them fast. They're fantastic. Hey, I'm going to show you some video right now. The video you're about to see and the reaction to it has a lot to teach everyone. Again, here you go. This is a video. Washington, D.C. yesterday, a man getting taken out of his car. They're starting to arrest him. Again, this is all part of a crackdown, not only on crime, but illegal immigrants. And it turns out it gets a little rough there as he tries to bolt. And a lot of people saw this video and they said, oh my, a journalist, people who should know better, is talking about, oh my God, how could they do this? This is only going to make people not want to come to Washington, D.C. And if they had just waited, Terrence Bates, as he comes in and joins us now, they would have found out that there was a charge against him from a year ago, an actual indictment for child sexual abuse. But these big-time journalists who make big-time money decided to weigh in on this. I mean, didn't they learn in even high school that you should not go off and pontificate until you get at least some of the facts? I mean, they just don't learn their lesson, do they?
Yeah, and I would say don't just get some of the facts, get all of the facts. It's better to be right and a little bit later than first and absolutely wrong. And then there's context. The guy got out of the car and tried to run from the police officers. How is that not like top of the story? He got out of the car and literally tried to evade police officers, which has led to what we call in the hood as a mollywop. It was led to him being cuffed here and all of that. You know, it's baffling how much the media has changed since you and I came up as youngsters in the business. I would like to believe that, you know, at that time we had a certain value system. There were certain things that we held in high esteem in terms of how we cover things, and all of that, I believe, has gone to the wayside recently.
You know, you made a good point there about how, you know, he starts trying to run. Here's the thing. Okay, so maybe they don't have the facts about what the charges are against this guy and things like that, but it's very clear that the police taking him down weren't looking to tackle him at first. I mean, that is clear from the video. You don't need to have all the other facts. So they also, that's another reason why they shouldn't have commented. They weren't looking to bully this guy. No, they did ask him to come out of the car. They didn't yank him out of the car, and they didn't tackle him until he tried to run.
You see it right there,
I mean,
Jake.
come on.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you saw him trying to get away, and so at that point, it gets a bit more aggressive. But the aggressor, I think one could say, is the suspect in this case, and I'm going to use the proper term because he's just a suspect, hasn't been convicted of anything, but he at that point was a suspect and tried to get away from the officers, and so that, of course, escalated the entire situation.
Now, there's also some fun in this video. If you look at the video just now, one of the cops, clearly thinking it was the suspect, started grabbing another one of the cops' legs. I mean, this is my point. I'm not trying to be a comedian here. There's plenty in this video without knowing what the situation with the suspect was to talk about. You could just be a journalist and say, wow, really interesting video going on right here. I can't wait to find out what this guy was charged with. Can't wait to see the details. But here you see, my viewers, my followers, what's going on in D.C., and this is really interesting. And just leave it at that. Why can't, I mean, that's enough. I mean, this video, I've seen it like 10 times. I watch it every time. Why not just take your gift here? You have citizen journalists out there with their phones all the time, getting great video for folks, and you just need to see what it is. So again, it's just a simple lesson in Journalism 101. Hey, the next 2 hours are about to go. T. Bates, Dr. G. Emily are going to be giving you the next 2 hours on American Sunrise. I will be joining you in the 9 a.m. hour to talk the stock market. And American Sunrise Early Edition comes back on Friday. Thanks for watching.
American Sunrise is a great way to start your morning. Join us Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got the news of the day and some compelling interviews that you don't want to miss. Here's what you missed from yesterday. Emily, you mentioned the potential peace deal that's being worked out between Israel and Hamas. In the meantime, Just the News is out with this headline, which says the White House says that Trump canceled Bedminster vacation in order to work on the Ukraine-Russia peace talks. And Dr. Gene, I think that really speaks to his commitment for peace, not just between Russia and Ukraine, but quite literally around the world.
Yesterday, he said that he was worried about his salvation and he wants to make sure he gets to heaven. And, you know, regardless of how people want to take that or pick it apart, it's bothering him that thousands and thousands of people are dying every single week. He doesn't want to wait another week. How do you go on vacation thinking that you could be the one who was chosen by God himself to put an end to a war that was killing thousands of people, I think 5,000 to 7,000 people every single week? How do you go on vacation and think, what's another 7,000 lives?
The White House is touting the success of the new plans in Washington, D.C. What are you noticing on the ground there in D.C.? Has there really been a difference?
Oh, there's been a tremendous difference. Carjackings are way down. Robberies are way down. Any type of assault on just crime in general is way down already in the month. And I don't see how any other U.S. city would not want this in their town. I mean, 465 arrests. It's amazing. Even MS-13 gang members being swept up in this.
There's this headline from Reuters. It said Israel weighs Hamas's response to Gaza's ceasefire proposal. Israel has announced new offensive plan to take control of certain parts of Gaza. What is your take? Where do you think this ends, and where do you think it should go?
I think that the reason that Hamas is finally willing to start talking about making a deal is because of the pressure that the prime minister has put on them by indicating about this Gaza offensive that's coming up in October. Also because Qatar and Egypt, on bequest of the United States, are weighing in to force Hamas. And right now, I firmly believe that this is a good deal for Israel for two primary reasons. Number one, Hamas is already defeated. They're not a consolidated fighting force, that they really pose no threat to Israel. And then number two, it's gut-wrenching, but the only way to get back Israeli hostages alive is to make a deal. And so I suspect while the prime minister will continue to keep pressure on Hamas with mobilization and preparation for this offensive, it is in his best interest and Israel's best interest to take this deal in the end.
Hey, did you find the manual?
Yes!
Summon Dale!
Who's Dale? American Home Show now provides video chat with live repair experts for home fixes over the phone. Let's go fix that oven. Okay, Dale.
Sign up today at ahs.com.
How many times have you tried to clean a stubborn mess but end up with no success? What you need is the all-new waterproof Ruby Horsepower, the new cordless and rechargeable power scrubber that cleans faster and easier, guaranteed. Watch, baked on oven grease is no match. It blasts away dirt and grime in no time. The power comes from our rotating brushes, spinning at 350 RPM. The incredible torque fights calcium, mildew, mold, and more. Take it in the kitchen, where it busts through caked-on crud, or outside and tackle tough tasks with ease. Get your Ruby Horsepower with 4 additional attachments, all for just $39.99. Great news! They're in stock and ready to ship. Due to high demand, only 2 per order. Order now.
Call 1-800-944-4512. That's 1-800-944-4512. Or visit horsepowerscrubber.com. So call 1-800-944-4512 now.
Attention homeowners. Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to call this number right now.
Call 800-714-8615.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
The bathroom of your dreams is only a phone call away with BCI Bath and Shower. We can make your ordinary bath and shower extraordinary. This is not a cookie cutter design. This is a complete custom build that will fit your every need. And discounts for
Ahead on American Sunrise, the IRS reportedly stopped a probe into the Clinton Foundation shortly after it began. Yeah, your question's just like mine. Why? We'll take a look. Plus, Russia is reportedly being non-committal on a meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Coming up, how the White House feels about the situation, plus the latest prospect for a trilateral talk. All of that's ahead, and despite protests breaking out in the nation's capital, the Trump administration continues to tout the success of the new crime-fighting deployments to keep D.C. safe. Those stories and so much more right now on American Sunrise.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics. President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina. Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Gina. We are live with you from the Palm Beaches. Let's bring in Emily Finn, who is with me here in West Palm Beach, and Terrence Bates in our Denver newsroom. Good morning to both of you. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday, Gina. The countdown to the weekend is on.
It is. I know Terrence is
counting. My countdown started on Monday. my countdown started on Monday. Hey, look, guys, the Clinton Foundation back in the headlines this morning. Just the News has this headline, which reads, IRS began criminal probe into Clinton Foundation in 2019, but then suddenly stopped, memos show. Those memos also show that apparently there were orders out not to talk about the Clinton Foundation at all. Just the News found out about all of this through FOIA requests, which were ultimately honored. Dr. Gina, what do you make of all of this?
Well, you know, really what needs to happen is the Clintons just need to go away. A little bit like Obama. Like, they keep coming back, like that rash that you get, that you don't really know what caused it or why it has to be so annoying. They remind me a lot of that. You know, here's the thing. We all just want to see people punished for what they've done. We want to see them exposed. We want to see them punished. And I don't know about you guys, how you feel, but I was talking to the J6ers this past week on Thursday or Friday or whatever day that was. And at this, one thing they pointed out was at this point in the Biden administration, there had been so many arrests of patriots and probably others, but so many arrests that you couldn't count them. And I think a lot of us just want to see arrests. I'm not fantasizing the Clintons are going to be arrested, but I would just like to see some justice served, Emily.
Certainly, some kind of accountability. And Gina, as we were talking about this morning, the Biden administration was asleep at the wheel when it actually came to policymaking and doing anything good for the American people. They were way more focused on some kind of revenge mission. And so I think with the Trump administration, like we were talking about, Gina, they are doing so much good and they are so focused on, doing things that really are going to make an impact and a difference. So I think they are finally going to get to this eventually, but there's just a lot on their plate.
When I hear things like don't even talk about the Clinton Foundation, it brings to mind the deep state and how active the deep state remains. And it's just a shame. If investigators don't have enough evidence or don't think they've been able to uncover enough evidence, that's one thing. But to put out a memo to say, don't even talk about it, don't even discuss it, it raises some serious questions in probably most people's minds, Dr.
Yeah,
G.
there were, not this network, but there were conservative outlets who would not allow their talent to talk about the Clinton Foundation. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it raises questions. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Anyway, would you get us to our Bible verse, please? Because I want to talk about something positive.
Let's do that. Galatians 5:22 and 23. Be the fruit of the Spirit, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such there is no law. Oh, my poor children, the number of times I've tried to say this to them. Anyway, we are now seeing reports that President Trump intends to leave Russia and Ukraine to organize a meeting between Putin and Zelensky without his involvement. Of course, he is the impetus for all of this, so he can still, I believe, take credit for whatever positive comes of it. J.D. Vance is hopeful the issues can be worked out as well. Take a listen.
I think the president's preference and my preference would be, let's have them meet regardless. You don't have to figure out every issue. And sometimes leaders sitting down face to face can break the logjam that their teams don't necessarily have the ability to do. There really are two big questions lingering out there. And in some ways it's very simple, but in some ways it's very complicated. Number one is Ukraine wants to know that it's not going to get invaded again by Russia. It wants to know that it's got territorial integrity long into the future. The Russians want certain pieces of territory, most of which they've occupied, but some of which they haven't. So that is really where the meat of the negotiation is. The Ukrainians want security guarantees. The Russians want a certain amount of territory. Again, we finally got the details. We're working on them, but we haven't figured everything out. And I don't think that we should force, we shouldn't say that they can't sit down until you figured out every little detail. Sometimes them sitting down is what facilitates figuring out those details.
I don't know how I feel about this, but it doesn't matter. Let's bring in RAV Chief White House Correspondent Brian Glenn. Brian, I guess the comfort that I took in President Trump being there was I feel like he's the adult in the room, sort of almost a mediator, a facilitator. He is the man who knows how to make unprecedented deals and negotiations. I worry if President Trump isn't there that anything's actually going to come of this.
And that's my segment. You guys have a great day. Dr. G, I could not agree with you more. Without him there, I don't think anything gets done. I've even heard speculation that since he's not scheduled to be there, there's no urgency to get something on the books. And if you do get something on the books and he's scheduled to be there, they're not going to cancel it. You're not going to flake out and cancel an appointment when President Trump is scheduled to be on that meeting. So we still don't have a location, obviously. We don't have a time that's when this is going to happen. But I do agree with J.D. Vance on this. Let's just sit down. Let's have them down. We don't have to have everything figured out. We don't have to have all the details and the T's crossed and the I's dotted. You don't need that right now. You just need the two leaders to get together and then go from there. But as of right now, the Kremlin is really downplaying any, meeting in the short term. But we'll see if President Trump can't step in, and maybe he does step in here in the next couple of days and say, look, maybe I need to facilitate this meeting and be there myself.
Brian, I do want to switch gears to this as well. Vice President J.D. Vance, along with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, they all spoke at a meeting with National Guard troops as protests broke out outside. And here's what Vance had to say. I want to get your reaction to this.
Mr. Vice President, why are troops stationed here at Union Station on the National Mall instead of areas in D.C. where crime is statistically highest?
Well, if you've ever been
been to Union Station in the last few years with your family, you know that crime is actually extremely high right here in Union Station. You have vagrants, you have drug addicts, you have the chronically homeless, you have the mentally ill who harass, who threaten violence, who attack families, and they've done it for far too long. This should be a monument to American greatness. This should be a place where you can come and share a meal or go shopping with your family. It should not be a place where parents of small children are afraid to bring them because, to Stephen's point, we've empowered criminals over the people who actually need public safety in the city. So I think Union Station is a great example of what's possible when you actually have the political willpower to bring law and order and common decency back to the public spaces of the United States of
Ongoing
America.
effort to crack down on crime there in D.C. Brian, what more can you tell us about these protests breaking out?
Yeah, this is not going to be the end of those protests. I saw that. I heard the sound bites coming from Stephen Miller, which I can listen to him all day talk about these, 90-year-old white protesters out there with nothing else to do. There's three things that make up a liberal: overly educated, affluent, and bored. That's exactly what these people are over at Union Station. That might be one of the reasons why they turned off the fountains years ago, as you could commonly see naked homeless people in those fountains taking what you would call a makeshift bath. But that area needs to be cleaned up. If the liberals want to get upset because we're trying to make our city safe, get the homeless where they need to be, people who need help in the shelters they need to be, if they want to fight this, and I think that's going to be on the losing end of the poll of the public opinion, because most people with half a brain that live in this city want these streets safer, and the DC police, enhanced police presence, and National Guard is certainly doing that. We've got the numbers. We went over them yesterday. Everything is down. Carjacking down. Armed robbery is down. Assaults are down. That's a good thing. Stats are dropping, and it's all in the favor. And, of course, approval rating for President Trump on this issue continues to rise.
Hey, Brian, we're about 10 days into this D.C. crackdown. The president, at this point, has 30 days to get it all under control, or at least he has the authority to keep this up for 30 days. He has said publicly that he'd like to extend that 30 days. Where does the White House stand in the effort to potentially extend that, and what's happening behind the scenes to extend the National Guard influence and President Trump's federalization of the D.C. Police Department, et cetera?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're still looking for an exact answer to that, and that's one of the things I was perhaps going to ask today. There's also, and I want to point out, there's also a protest tent that's outside the White House on the other side of the North Lawn, the big black fence. If you've been to D.C., you've noticed it. It's been there since 1981. That was originally, kind of put up to protest nuclear arms. And since then, it's been kind of a ground zero for every radical, communist type of protest that wants to come to D.C. My question for him would be also today, can we throw that into the mix as far as the beautification of D.C., getting these homeless encampments off? That's a state park. That is a federal park there. Park police patrol that along with Secret Service. That, in my opinion, is also a violation of what President Trump is trying to crack down in the city. But that, indeed, is one of the questions I might have for him today.
Should protesters be paid? I mean, I would be the most ardent defender of our First Amendment, but should protesters be paid? Because these protesters are paid, and then the news media uses it to make people in America think they're crazy, that they don't agree with these radical ideas.
Yeah, they're actually, it's manned 24/7. It's ever since 1981. There's a whole list. You can go look on Wikipedia. You can read about it, who's been in charge. Occupy DC has been one of the organizations that's had an association with that tent, if you will. I've had people tell me, and these are people that are very close to that tent, that tell me it's rat infested, got feces, people live in it. It's a health concern. It's a safety concern as well, because that is an area that someone could ultimately perhaps plant some type of device or anything like that. So as far as a public safety standpoint, that's a complete violation. I think they've been flying in under the freedom of speech and freedom of protest, and I think that ship has sailed a long time. Right now there's a lady walking around with a Jesus flag, and she's playing praise and worship music. I encourage that. I encourage anybody who wants to walk around with a sign. If you hate Trump and you want to walk around in the morning with your hate Trump sign, that's fine. But you cannot put up a homeless tent, fly that under the protest flag, and be able to do that and be kind of ground zero for all these nut jobs that come to our nation's capital. It's an eyesore. If you ever try to take a family picture in front of the White House, that's going to be in your background potentially. Get rid of it. I say we beautify D.C. all the way up to that north fence here at the White House.
Sounds good to me, Brian. I don't think you're going to get much disagreement here. Have a great day.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks, B.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, coming up, we're going to check out the hottest headlines from the Wrap Newsroom with T. Bates. And later, could the crime cleanup effort in D.C. spread across the country? We're going to talk about that on American Sunrise.
When the kids turn unholy, Harrelson's Own keeps my patience divine.
When work flies out of control, Harrelson's Own keeps me cool as a cucumber.
The device madness never ends, but Harrelson's Own keeps me zen.
Life can be chaotic, but Harrelson's Own CBD helps keep you calm through any storm. Harrelson's Own consistently delivers your full mind and body homeostasis. It's an organic, full-spectrum CBD in a refreshing oral spray. Our nano-emulsified technology makes it completely water-soluble, so your body absorbs it immediately. You'll start to feel it in seconds, not 60 minutes. It just makes everything feel better.
And it helps me just take the edge off. It helps me relax. It helps me be there with my kids.
I swear I'm like a mental ninja. Like nothing can throw me off balance.
No matter how many things come at me, I'm like, boom, handled, next. I'm like crushing it all day long.
Well, some people take it for a release from stress. Some take it to get rid of pain. Others just take it for general well-being. For me, Brett Harrelson, it just makes everything about my day a little better.
Give your life a boost.
It's just the best you've ever felt in your natural state.
My happiness in a bottle is the best.
So to sum it all up, you're going to feel the benefits quickly, love the way it feels, and like the way it tastes. Pay a fair price, and you're going to thank us for it. We are so confident you're going to be satisfied that we back every bottle with a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Give Harrelson's Own a try, from our family to yours. Go to HO.com to order Harrelson's Own now. Yep, it's that easy. Just our initials, HO.com.
This news break is brought to you by AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. Coming up, how are the people of Washington, D.C. feeling about President Trump's orders and how much progress has been made? We have those details straight ahead. But first, Terrence Bates is standing by with the latest headlines from the Real America's Voice newsroom, sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
As President Trump's operation to secure the nation's capital continues, he sent Vice President J.D. Vance into the field to meet with National Guardsmen and give them a bit of a pep talk.
Look at what's happened in Washington, D.C. in just the past 9 days. We've seen a 35% reduction in violent crime. We've seen over a 50% reduction in robberies. We are seeing really substantial effects because these guys are busting their ass. So I wanted to come here, highlight what they're doing, say thank you in person, obviously pass out a few burgers, but most of all, just send a message to the American people. Look, we don't have to live like this. We do not have to allow our cities to be taken over by violence, by disorder, and by chaos.
Attorney General Pam Bondi says since the Trump administration's takeover of Washington's Metropolitan Police Department, there have been at least 465 arrests for everything from homicide to drugs to gun offenses. Amid President Trump's focus on crime and illegal immigration in this country, we're getting almost daily reminders of the dangers that have been lurking in our neighborhoods. Immigration and Customs Control's X page tells the story fully. Our friends at Just the News are also reporting about the arrest of a Guatemalan man who was in this country illegally, boasting some 38 previous arrests and 15 convictions. The Department of Homeland Security calls the guy one of the worst criminal illegal aliens. His convictions include aggravated assault, sexual assault, burglary, larceny, possession of stolen property, and obstruction of justice. ICE has arrested well over 100,000 illegal aliens so far. Those efforts are being bolstered by funding in President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, which expand ICE's budget and help ramp up deportations. Texas is expected to have a new congressional voting map by the end of the week or early next week. On Wednesday, the Republican-led Texas State House passed the controversial redistricting bill along a party line vote. A state Senate panel passed a similar map earlier this week, which is expected to hit Governor Greg Abbott's desk in the coming days. Now, all of this is happening following a 2-week delay when House Democrats went AWOL in order to try and avert a vote on that measure, which is expected to give Republicans a marked voting advantage in congressional districts. Democrats have criticized the new voting map, calling it racist and meant to disenfranchise minority communities in the Lone Star State. Meantime, they're counting on California's redistricting effort to make up for the potential Democrat seats that would be lost in Texas under this new map. It all comes down to the balance of power in Congress. That's a quick check of your headlines. I'll have more headlines coming your way a little bit later, including protests breaking out in Washington, D.C. over President Trump's federalization of the city's policing. Meantime, Vice President J.D. Vance joined National Guardsmen on the front lines. We'll have that story coming up. Right now, though, a quick look at this day in history. It was on this date in 1931 that Yankee slugger Babe Ruth became the first Major League Baseball player to hit 600 career home runs. The New York Yankees went on to beat the St. Louis Browns that day, thanks to Babe. The Babe, by the way, considered by most sports historians to be the greatest baseball player of all time. He continues to be the standard bearer against which all other players are measured. More American Sunrise coming your way after this break.
Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home.
US Med, a trusted supplier of diabetes equipment for nearly 30 years, has great news for people living with diabetes and the pain of regular testing. New Medicare and private insurance guidelines have expanded coverage for continuous glucose monitors, even for people not using insulin. The days of repeated, painful finger sticks are over. Now you can wear a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, and eliminate routine finger sticks. US Med has the newest models of CGM, which are more accurate and convenient than ever. CGMs are shown to lower your A1C, increase your time in range, and reduce the risk of hypoglycemic events. Shipping is free, and will even bill your insurer directly. Don't spend one more painful day testing your blood sugar. Call now to get your continuous glucose monitoring system so you can take control of your diabetes and get back to enjoying life.
Call US Med now.
Thinking about Medicare? Think AMAC. Medicare can be complicated, but AMAC makes it simple. Our licensed agents provide free, unbiased guidance to help you find the plan that best suits your needs. But that's not all AMAC has to offer. AMAC is America's leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization, guided by the principles of faith, family, and freedom. So when it comes to Medicare and so much more, think AMAC.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free rider's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Good morning, Colorado Springs, or the Springs as we call it here. And good morning to the rest of you, no matter where you're waking up. We appreciate you being here with us for American Sunrise. Here on the show, we talk a lot about protecting the values that make this country great. Those values will be faith, family, and freedom. And no organization is doing more to stand up for those values than AMAC, which is the Association of Mature American Citizens. AMAC is a conservative alternative to the AARP, and they offer incredible benefits to their members, benefits that include discounts on things that you use every day, as well as helpful online tools and resources like a subscription to the AMAC magazine. You can join for as little as $1.20 a month with a 5-year membership. If you happen to want to stay informed, save money, and stand up for America, go to amac.us/sunrise and join AMAC today. For more, let's bring in the editor-in-chief of AMAC Newsline, Shane Harris. Shane, good morning. Always good to see you. In the break, we were talking a little bit, and I said, hey, you know, what's some of the things that's on your mind? And you talked about leadership, particularly in light of the crackdown from the Trump administration on Washington, D.C. You think this potentially could set a precedent for really getting ahead of the curve when it comes to crime in other major metropolitan areas?
Yeah, that's right, Terrence. First, thanks for having me. Glad to be here with you this morning. So for a long time, you know, there's been a ton of blue cities that have a crime problem. And Republicans' message has always been, hey, you know, we don't have to live like this. Decline, crime, poverty, it's all a choice, right? It's a choice that we make in our leadership circles. And for a long time, that message hasn't really broken through. But with the Trump administration doing what they're doing in D.C. now, you know, they kind of took over a couple weeks ago, and there's been residents there who have noticed, like, hey, like, you know, there's no more like teen takeovers going on down the street, right? There's no more shootings that I'm hearing at night. And I think that proof of concept could have a really big impact in other blue cities, because it's one thing to just say, you know, this is a choice, you don't have to live like this. But when you actually see the results of cracking down on crime firsthand, you know, there may be some voters in other cities who look at that and say, you know, that it's not as bad as the Democrats said it would be. There's not some authoritarian takeover. The streets are just safer, and the bad apples are getting put in jail. And so I think, you know, hopefully the optimistic view is that could have a trickle-down effect in other cities throughout the country.
And I would imagine that this is something that's front of mind for many of your AMAC members, not just because they may be a little bit older and want to feel safe in their own neighborhoods, but they also have grandkids who they don't want to be victimized.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, our older Americans, they've invested so much in this country, right? You think all the way back to the greatest generation that fought in World War II, the baby boomers who built the greatest economy in the history of the world. You know, they don't want to see their country succumb to decline, crime, poverty. And, you know, these cities, you know, we should be proud of our cities in America. Places like New York and LA, I mean, they used to mean something. They used to inspire this feeling of greatness and appreciation of the American dream. And I don't think we should give up on that. I don't think that we should just, you know, surrender our cities to crime and these failed far left ideologies. I think we should fight back as conservatives. And you know, we should have a plan to take them back from crime and continue, you know, telling the residents who live there, hey, if you guys just make different leadership choices, you can have different outcomes.
As you're putting together stories on AMAC Online, or the Newsline, excuse me, what are you hearing from many of your viewers, many of the AMAC members, about what they're more concerned about? There's obviously a lot of foreign policy that's in the headline, of course, Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Hamas. That's always going to be front of mind. But there's also a lot happening in our own neighborhoods, in our own communities. Are your AMAC viewers and listeners as concerned about some of the foreign policy issues, or is America First really front of mind, not just in terms of policy and politics, but also the actual idea of putting America first?
Yeah, I think America First is definitely still top of mind. I think it will always be top of mind. Not to say that foreign policy isn't important. I think our members really appreciate some of the historic progress that President Trump has made. But if you notice how President Trump has done it, he's done it in America first way, right? When he had the summit with Putin, where did Putin come? He came to America, to Alaska. The European leaders and President Zelensky came to him in Washington, D.C. And I think that's very significant because, America first doesn't mean we don't have any interest in foreign policy or that President Trump has no interest in foreign policy. It means that foreign policy needs to be conducted in a way that puts the interests of the United States first. And ultimately, the United States does benefit when the rest of the world is peaceful. Now, that doesn't mean that we should sacrifice our own domestic priorities, to help out, foreign countries if that's what it comes down to. But it does mean that if he can do things to promote peace, to promote trade, he said this many times, when he brokered the conflict between India and Pakistan, what did he say? He said, this is about trade. Do you want to spend your time fighting each other? Or do you want to trade and get rich? And I think that's a very appealing pitch to other countries, and it can help the United States as well.
Before I let you go, talk about some of the issues that AMAC members and AMAC in general is advocating for, is lobbying for.
Yeah, well, how much time you got? Because the list is pretty long, from election
I've got 3
integrity.
minutes and 46, 45, 44 seconds. Have at it.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. So the list is very long. Our AMAC members are very engaged on issues from election security to lowering taxes. Like I said, the list goes on, and especially at Newsline, we're covering that every day. And through our advocacy efforts, we're very active on Capitol Hill. We were huge in passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill. And so for anybody out there who's watching, who wants to get involved in issues like that, as you mentioned in the intro, advocating for values like family, faith, freedom, AMAC and AMAC Newsline are the place to be. We're putting out news stories every day. We're on here with you all very frequently talking about the work that we're doing. We've got a big boot camp for Patriots coming up on September 27th, so you can check that out on our website. It's going to be a huge gathering ahead of the elections there in Virginia. And that's going to be great. I know we've got some RAV hosts who are going to be there, and signups are still available. There's a limited number of slots, but again, that's September 27th, and you can check that out on amac.us.
Shane, always good to talk to you, my friend. Great information as always. We'll talk soon, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, a case of the plague has been detected in California. So what was the cause? We've got the details on that next here on American Sunrise.
US Med, a trusted supplier of diabetes equipment for nearly 30 years, has great news for people living with diabetes and the pain of regular testing. New Medicare and private insurance guidelines have expanded coverage for continuous glucose monitors, even for people not using insulin. The days of repeated, painful finger sticks are over. Now you can wear a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, and eliminate routine finger sticks. US Med has the newest models of CGM, which are more accurate and convenient than ever. CGMs are shown to lower your A1C, increase your time in range, and reduce the risk of hypoglycemic events. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurer directly. Don't spend one more painful day testing your blood sugar. Call now to get your continuous glucose monitoring system so you can take control of your diabetes and get back to enjoying life.
Call US Med now.
Thinking about Medicare? Think AMAC. Medicare can be complicated, but AMAC makes it simple. Our licensed agents provide free, unbiased guidance to help you find the plan that best suits your needs. But that's not all AMAC has to offer. AMAC is America's leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization, guided by the principles of faith, family, and freedom. So when it comes to Medicare and so much more, think AMAC.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Hi, welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. Chi. Thanks for joining us. Time now for today's health news, sponsored by the Wellness Company and Under the Microscope today. A person in California has tested positive for the plague. Officials believe this person came in contact with an infected flea while they were in the Lake Tahoe area. The El Dorado County Public Health Department says the plague is naturally present in several parts of that part of the country, California and that general area, including the higher elevation areas in the country. They also urged people to take precaution when they are outside in these areas. The virus spreads to fleas from infected rodents. These symptoms usually show up within a 2-week period. But here's the good news. They can be treated with antibiotics if caught early. So if you've been someplace to one of these higher elevations and you have some bizarre symptoms, just want to make sure it's not the plague, since apparently the plague is back. A new administration in Washington, D.C. has brought a lot of positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. But there's a lot that you can do, because the government can't do anything. And if you want to make America healthy again, it starts at home with each and every one of us, and that's where the Wellness Company comes in. You see and hear from their doctors all the time on this network, and you know that their products are the gold standard to keep you and your family safe and healthy. They make sure you are prepared for whatever happens with their series of prescription medical kits. These kits contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks to assist in the proper use of the medications in the kit. Also, the Wellness Company offers a variety of products from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss, so much more. These can help you stay healthy and live longer and a more satisfying life. Make America healthy again starts at home, you guys. Do your part, protect the health of yourself and your family. Go to twc.health/RAV. Today, give it an order. That's twc.health/RAV. Use the promo code RAV. That will save you 10%. Emily?
Dr. Gina. Well, protests have broken out in Washington, D.C. over the deployment of the National Guard and the federalization of the D.C. police. They want the National Guard out of the city, and here's how President Trump's Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, responded. Take a look.
For too long, 99% of this city has been terrorized by 1% of this city. And the voices that you hear out there, those crazy communists, they have no roots, they have no connections to the city, they have no families they're raising in this city, they have no one that they're sending to school in this city, they have no jobs in this city, they have no connections to this community at all. But they're the ones who've been advocating for the 1%, the criminals, the killers, the rapists, the drug dealers. And I'm glad they're here today. Because me, Pete, and the Vice President are all going to leave here, and inspired by them, we're going to add thousands more resources to this city to get the criminals and the gang members out of here.
Let's bring in Ohio congressional candidate Josh Williams. Josh, if you were in Congress right now, how would you be voting on this issue of keeping the National Guard in D.C.?
I absolutely will vote to continue the National Guard in D.C. You know, I was raised in an eye at the idea of more law enforcement to provide safety and security to our communities. D.C. needs to be crime-free. We've seen a plague of violence, and I support the president's effort to make sure they clean up the city.
Josh, you ran a new ad for your campaign this week. We want to take a look at it.
Without a father, in poverty, and without direction. And I begged God for forgiveness. I said, if you show me the way, I promise I will put in the hard work to dig myself out of this bed and dig myself out of poverty. And oh my God, did he start working miracles in my life. And at the age of 30 years old, I enrolled at the University of Toledo as a freshman. And at the age of 35, I was graduating from law school. You can tell just how scared the Democrats are of my candidacy. I know I'm ready to fight. I was born to be a fighter.
Touching a commercial for sure. Everybody, though, who runs, Josh, has a moment where they knew they had to do it. What was that moment for you?
It was in 2020. After overcoming being a homeless high school dropout and becoming disabled for 6 years laying in bed, fighting to recover, having 40 procedures on my spine, including metal being put in my spine. I fought to go to college and overcome and became an attorney and progressed in my career. But after the 2020 elections, I saw that I needed to go into public service and provide hope to a community of hopeless. We continue to have a generation that believes that they are victims. They refuse to claim over their lives. They look at government for solutions to every one of their problems. And I went into office not only to provide hope to that generation, but to provide solutions so people can overcome adversity and chase the American dream like I did. And that's what I've done so far in my career, and that's what I plan on doing in Congress.
I think that was really, really well said. You know, younger generations, they do act as though they are victims. They need to take more accountability and get more involved in their own lives. And I think that really starts with education. I know that Republican gubernatorial candidate in Ohio, Vivek Ramaswamy, he's been really talking about this a lot in Ohio. Talk to us about the state of education in Ohio and what you think needs to be addressed.
So education has gotten better in Ohio with the expansion of school choice. You know, we had policies before that would hold kids hostage in schools that were failing. You know, I was that parent that went to the school trying to get a better education for my son, and the door was shut in my face. And I used Ed Choice to provide my son with a great education. And eventually we were able to make ourselves into a great public school district, and he graduated from a public school. But I went back to bring change to Ohio, support Vivek's efforts to bring merit back to our teachers. You know, we should be able to pay the teachers that are actually educating our students and getting better educational outcomes more than teachers that are there just to collect a check.
Yeah, for sure. What are the major issues facing the people of Ohio? We think about things like trade, we think about manufacturing. What restores Ohio, and especially the inner city areas of Ohio, to their grandeur, you know, from just a few decades ago?
Yeah, well, just like most of the country, jobs and the economy are the most important issues. You know, it's not good enough to go and get just an education, but to be a qualified candidate and have a job ready for you to be able to, you know, get and earn a good wage and live the American dream of buying a house and raising a family. That's essential. So the trade policies that have come out of the Trump administration have really helped Northwest Ohio. It's shored up our manufacturing base, including our auto industry here in Toledo, where we produce amazing Jeep products and other products here in Toledo. And it's assured that, you know, parents can be comfortable knowing that their kids, when they graduate from high school, they go to trade school, or they decide to go off to college, that when they're done with their education, there will be a job waiting for them so they can chase the American dream like I did.
Do you think that Vice President J.D. Vance is going to get involved in these races in Ohio, the gubernatorial race, or the race that you're involved in?
Yeah, I mean, we hope that the White House will eventually weigh into these races so we can avoid costly primaries. You know, I'm not scared of competition, but we've had a congresswoman in Northwest Ohio that's been there for 42 years, and she continues to be able to build up her war chest as Republicans tear themselves apart in primaries, and that's how she stayed in office over the last two election cycles. You know, I believe I'm the candidate that's going to win this race. I believe I'm finally going to retire Marcy Kaptur here in Northwest Ohio and bring change to the 9th Congressional District.
So if Vance got involved and picked someone else, would you stay in the race?
I will respect the decision of both the president and the vice president about who they want as the Republican nominee in this district.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing what happens in that district. Ohio is a great Midwestern state. You're a blessed man to get to be there, and hope you get to represent it. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you for having me on.
All right, coming up, the chairman of the DNC advocating for a government shutdown. Why does he want to shut it down? We're going to talk about that next on American Sunrise.
Think of all the places that could expose you to identity theft and financial loss. It only takes one mistake at your bank, hospital, or employer for a criminal to gain access to your personal information. And if they do, you and your money are at risk.
$110,000 of my hard-earned money gone.
With LifeLock, if your identity is compromised, we'll step in and fix it so you don't have to, guaranteed. Our dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialists handle your case from start to finish. They contact institutions on your behalf, dispute fraudulent charges, and more. In fact, we're so confident that restoration is guaranteed. Plus, LifeLock offers the $1 Million Protection Package with coverage up to $3 million.
When I opened my mail and I had a check from LifeLock, they made me whole.
Call now or go online and use promo code 35OFF to save 35% off an annual plan for your first year. Enroll now.
You push it. You try to hold them shut, but your doors won't stay closed no matter what. Introducing Ruby Monkey Magnets. Ultra-thin magnetic plates that will keep your doors and drawers shut. Just peel to reveal the super strong adhesive. Place the monkey, then the magnet, and close. Installation is that simple, and now you have a door that will stay shut. The secret is the ultra-strong industrial magnet's powerful attraction that holds tight. Monkey magnets work on most surfaces and are perfect for cabinets, dresser drawers, sliding closet doors, and more. Even your outdoor problems are solved in an instant because they're corrosion and rust resistant. Call or go online now to get 8 sets of monkey magnets for only $9.99. Due to rising costs, this may be your last chance to get monkey magnets at this low price. There is a strict limit of 1 house pack per order. Call now.
Call 1-800-519-4389. That's 1-800-519-4389. Call or visit at monkeymagnets.com. So call 1-800-519-4389 now.
All right, well, you're already drinking coffee, but is it doing anything for you other than giving you a caffeine spike? Rejuvenate Coffee, it's different though. It's science-backed. It's clean Arabica coffee infused with CAAKG, which is a powerful compound studied for the ability to support longevity. It also supports cellular energy and metabolism at the deepest level. That means sharper mornings, no crash, more focus, and long-term benefits that your body will thank you for. I drink it because I care about my health. I care about energy and how I show up for my family, for my work, for the life I want to build. So if you're going to drink coffee anyway, make it one that works as hard as you do. Head to 1775coffee.com/RAV. Use the promo code RAV for 10% off and start your mornings with something that fuels your body. It fuels your principles. Don't just wake up, rejuvenate. All right, Emily, are you rejuvenated?
Feeling caffeinated. I'm feeling rejuvenated this morning, Gina. My goodness gracious. Maybe I need more coffee. All right. It is time to stay awake, not woke. And who was woke today? DNC Chairman Ken Martin, who is calling for a government shutdown over President Trump's orders in Washington, D.C. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Yes, you have a fascist in the White House, and that requires us. We cannot be the only one playing by the rules with the hand tied behind our backs. That old playbook, the norms that, used to have guardrails on our democracy and protect all of us in this country, that doesn't exist anymore. We've got to throw that playbook out the window because the Republicans have. We cannot be the only party that's playing by the rules anymore. That's why I said this isn't your grandfather's Democratic Party where you bring a pencil to a knife fight. We are bringing a bazooka to a knife fight. Donald Trump wanted a showdown. The Republicans want a showdown. We're going to give it to them. And guess what? We don't have power in the Congress. That's for sure. But we have the power of our voices. We have the power of our platforms to move public sentiment. And the public sentiment is moving our way.
Bringing a bazooka to a knife fight. Interesting choice of words there. Let's bring in Dr. Gina and Terrence for further discussion. Dr. Gina, it just is so hard for me to understand what these people are protesting, what they're upset about. We should all be on the same page that cracking down on crime is a good thing.
Well, they're upset about losing, Emily. That's all they're upset about. This has nothing to do, again, with principles. They are flailing and grasping and desperate to try to find some issue that resonates somewhat with the American people, because forever they've had all of the identity politics. They've been able to say, well, you don't want to vote for Republicans because you're poor, because you're black, because you're gay, because that's not working anymore. We have poor, black, gay, you name it, every kind of candidates who are elected in the Republican Party now. So their lies aren't translating any longer, so they are desperately searching for something. And that's why, they're willing to flip and flop and be complete hypocrites on every single issue. And this is no exception. Look at all the times that they were the ones saying, you have to pass a budget, you have to pass these extreme spending bills. And now they're the ones saying shut down the government. It's just a crazy time, Terrence.
You know what I find interesting about that argument is that he says, oh, the Republicans have taken off all the guardrails. Well, I think the last administration showed that they set precedents in terms of taking down in terms of taking down guardrails. I mean, just the politicization of the Justice Department in and of itself came in unprecedented fashion. It's not something that I've seen in my lifetime, and I think many historians would tell you that it was a first of its kind sort of weaponization of the government. And so now to kind of turn that around and say, oh, well, what's happening in this administration is so unprecedented, and they're taking off the guardrails. To quote David Brody, oh, that's interesting. That's pretty cute that they would say that sort of thing. And it just goes to show where we are as a country right now, and not only the divide, but how everything is politicized, and what's right and what's best for the American people goes to the wayside in order to try to politicize an issue and try to get a political victory, Dr. Gina and Emily.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, Terrence. And I think it also goes to show the state of the Democrat Party right now. Instead of rallying behind a message and a candidate, they're really struggling to even find a message to get people fired up about. And Dr. Gina, I just don't think that this is the one. People can see through it, and they can see that obviously the Trump administration is trying to do something that is going to benefit the people of D.C., keep their communities safer. But, like I said, the people are going to see through it and see that, they're really not, the outrage is over nothing.
Yeah, it's just so interesting, for all of these years to watch them banter on and on about how great government is, and now they're saying shut down the government. It's just the irony of that
it's political. They're doing it for political expediency, not because they think it's the right thing to do, not because they think it's good policy. They think it could bring them a political win, particularly after having taken so many political losses within the last 6 months, particularly when it came to the White House. And so they're grasping for straws, looking for any sort of political win or anything that they believe can give Republicans a black eye. I think that's what it ultimately comes down to.
I do want to open this conversation up a bit. We have a couple more minutes here, you guys. Who do you think the Democrats could potentially rally behind? Because I think about Gavin Newsom, right? When you look at very, very early polls leading into, the 2028 presidential election, it has a matchup of J.D. Vance and Gavin Newsom. But you think about how poorly Gavin Newsom handled this issue as well with crime in California, specifically in Los Angeles. We saw all of those riots earlier this year. Who in their party is even going to be able to emerge when their messaging and their policies are just so out of touch with what is actually going on, Gina?
I think one of two things is going to happen. Either a radical leftist socialist is going to emerge, because that's where the motivation is in their base. That is where they have their energy. That is where they can actually form authentic protests. That's where the money is going. Because they're getting money from communist countries, let's not forget, who want to take us down, like China and Russia. And don't think that's not happening, because that happens every day. And so it'll either be that, or the Democrats will come to their senses. And this would really take some moral integrity. I don't know that they have it. And they will moderate on their issues, go back to the foundational issues that got Democrats elected back in the day when the Democrats had a strong party, had a strong platform. They would have to reform their whole entire party and come up with all new candidates. I don't think it would happen, but that is the path to victory for them. And even Bill Maher and even some of the most astute voices out there in Democrat politics who've been around for a long time are agreeing that that's really the only way back.
Terrence,
yeah, I think there's going to be a dark horse candidate. Right now, Gavin Newsom is popular. He's the sexy choice, but we're still so far off, and a lot can happen in 2.5 years. And I suspect there's going to be some sort of dark horse candidate. It wouldn't surprise me if it's somebody like Maryland Governor Wes Moore. He's someone that's kind of been mentioned as a potential presidential candidate. I think it might be a governor, someone who's got executive experience, but I think it's going to be a dark horse. It's not going to be someone that we're probably even really talking about at this moment.
I agree with you on that. I also think that it's way too early to say J.D. Vance, because when I talk to people in Republican circles, I hear a lot of things like, I don't know, I'd like to see him be a little more seasoned, a little older, a little more experienced before he becomes president. So there's a deep bench in the Republican Party. That's part of the good news. I think J.D. Vance someday, yes. I don't know that it'll be this election.
I think that's the whole point, Gina. There is a deep bench. There's a lot of Republican rock stars, and the Democrats simply just don't have as many star players as we do. All right, great discussion this morning, you guys. Coming up, Gen Z is reportedly opting for a more sober life. We look at why they're choosing sobriety next on American Sunrise.
There's nothing worse than losing your dog before their time.
That's why I created Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, designed to help dogs with everything from digestive issues to itching, even moving better.
Nature's Blend works because it's freeze-dried. So instead of destroying the nutrients with high heat, they all get right into your dog's body.
Take it from a veterinarian with over 50 years of experience saving dogs' lives. I have never seen a food make this much impact on a dog's health.
For a limited time, get up to 54% off Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, plus a free gift with our special TV offer. Call or go to drmartypets.com/TV.
US Med, a trusted supplier of diabetes equipment for nearly 30 years, has great news for people living with diabetes and the pain of regular testing. New Medicare and private insurance guidelines have expanded coverage for continuous glucose monitors, even for people not using insulin. The days of repeated, painful finger sticks are over. Now you can wear a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, and eliminate routine finger sticks. US Med has the newest models of CGM, which are more accurate and convenient than ever. CGMs are shown to lower your A1C, increase your time in range, and reduce the risk of hypoglycemic events. Shipping is free and will even bill your insurer directly. Don't spend one more painful day testing your blood sugar. Call now to get your continuous glucose monitoring system so you can take control of your diabetes and get back to enjoying life.
Call US Med now.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
God bless the USA.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. It's time now for our Moment of Faith, brought to us by Lee Greenwood and the God Bless the USA Bible. In focus today, a new study finds Gen Z is ditching alcoholic beverages, citing health benefits and lifestyle reasons for embracing the sober life. In Keurig Dr. Pepper's first ever State of Beverages report, 60% of Gen Zers prefer non-alcoholic beverages when in social settings. Instead, this generation says they would prefer mocktails or matcha lattes over a beer or spirit. The trend away from alcohol has been significant from the prior generation, millennials. For more, let's welcome to American Sunrise, Jonathan Shuttlesworth, pastor and founder of Revival Today. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining American Sunrise. You know, as someone who is part of Gen Z, I can attest that this is happening. You know, a lot of my friends, they would rather go and get a coffee than go out and drink. What do you attribute to this shift?
I think I'm part of the generation that made them feel that way, where they watched their mom and dads on fentanyl and heroin and you know, the highest alcohol consumption was from their parents. And I think they saw it ruin their lives. And that combined with health and faith, you have the highest amount of people attending church now at any point in American history. And that's mostly Gen Z. So you have, you know, Joe Rogan has the #1 podcast. He just ditched alcohol. I think everybody is concerned about how they look and health. And they found out alcohol is poison and they're done with it. It's part of the bigger move towards God.
Absolutely. And, you know, I like that you said poison. Sometimes the devil uses things like this to do evil works in the world. And I was looking at your X account this morning. I love how you describe this, that you cause problems for the devil professionally. I think that's awesome. And I think that's a way to really get people fired up to be proud of their faith and to, you know, get the word out there more. What kind of problems do you cause? And what is your advice to be able to really shake up, you know, especially for young people? It can be difficult to have faith conversations. Talk to us more about that advice that you have.
Oh, I came up with that line as a like phrase about going on offense, because the Christians I grew up around were always talking about the devil like he was superior and was, you know, the devil's going to be attacking the devil. Be careful, the devil doesn't hear you say that. When the Bible says, when you align your life with the word of God, the devil's not over your head, he's under your feet. And you actually can do what you're seeing happen now in America, where Christians aren't hiding and hoping nobody finds out they believe in God. You have a whole generation now that are baptizing people in university fountains and on the beach and public and proud about their faith. And it's literally breaking the hold of the devil on the nation in real time. It's been great to see.
Well, Jonathan Shuttlesworth, I hope that you continue to cause even more problems for the devil. Thank you so much for your time on American Sunrise this morning.
Thank you.
Be sure to tune in to Revival Today this Sunday morning at 9 a.m. here on Real America's Voice. We'll be back with the second hour of American Sunrise in just 2 minutes. Stick with us.
Introducing the limited edition God Bless the USA Bible, inspired by Lee Greenwood's hit song and the most recognized patriotic anthem in America, God Bless the USA. The God Bless the USA large print leather-bound King James Bible also contains America's founding documents, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance, along with a handwritten chorus to Lee Greenwood's song, God Bless the USA. With its large print and slim design, this Bible invites you to explore God's Word anywhere, anytime. The God Bless the USA Bible makes the perfect gift and cherished family heirloom keepsake to pass on to future generations. Designed for an easy reading experience in the trusted King James Version translation, this large print Bible is perfect to take to church, Bible study, work, and for traveling. Order yours today at GodBlessTheUSABible.com.
You push it. You try to slide it. You even try to hold them shut. But your doors just won't stay closed no matter what. Introducing Ruby Monkey Magnets. Brand new ultra-thin magnetic plates that will keep your doors and drawers shut. And now may be your last chance to get them at a low price. Just peel to reveal the super strong adhesive. Place the monkey, then the magnet, and close. Installation is that simple, and now you have a door that will stay shut. So forget drawers that won't stay closed. Every drawer stays closed. It's so fast and so easy. Even large sliding doors or cordless window blinds. Everything stays closed with Monkey Magnets. The secret is the ultra-strong industrial magnet that's powerful attraction keeps your doors and drawers securely shut. These magnets are so strong they can hold this hammer that's nearly 5 pounds. Plus they're super thin. They'll fit just about anywhere, and they stay out of sight. Even screw them in for a more permanent solution. Monkey Magnets are perfect for cabinets, dresser drawers, sliding closet doors, accordion doors, and more. They're made of ultra-durable metal, so even your outdoor problems are solved in an instant because they're corrosion and rust resistant. Use them anywhere outside the house, even on that stubborn mailbox that won't stay shut. Monkey Magnets can stick anywhere, from drywall to all types of wood frames, metal surfaces, and more. Call or go online now to get 8 sets of Monkey Magnets for only $9.99. Monkey Magnets are guaranteed to last 10 years or your money back. But wait, due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get Monkey Magnets at this low price. There is a strict limit of 1 full house pack per order while supplies last. So order now to keep all your doors and drawers shut tight with Monkey Magnets.
Call 1-800-519-4810. That's 1-800-519-4810. Call or visit GetMonkeyMagnets.com. So call 1-800-519-4810. Order now.
Ahead on this second hour of American Sunrise, a federal judge has blocked the release of the Jeffrey Epstein grand jury documents, while the House Oversight Committee is gearing up to release some of its Epstein files. The big question, what are we going to see? Stick around to find out. Shifty Adam Schiff already preparing for a legal battle this morning as President Trump ramps up calls to investigate his connections to the Russian collusion hoax. The legal pathways to potentially prosecute Schiff are ahead. And if you think that you can do 50 pull-ups and 100 sit-ups in just 10 minutes, well, stick around. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and HHS Secretary Bobby Kennedy are challenging you. They're teaming up for a new initiative to make America healthy again. All of that and so much more right now on American Sunrise.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Welcome back to this second hour of American Sunrise. As always, we appreciate you being here with us on this Thursday morning. I'm Terrence Bates, coming to you from our Denver newsroom. Let's bring in Dr. Gina and Emily Finn. They are both in our West Palm Beach, or I'm sorry, Dr. Gina, in our Palm Beaches newsroom. You guys have multiple beaches down there, and the closest I get to a beach here is some sand on the reservoir. That's about the closest we get to a beach here in Denver, Dr. G. Good morning, you guys.
Good morning. I don't know, I've sat by some beautiful creeks there near you, Terrence, and of course there's those mountains.
Yeah, we've got mountains and we've got beautiful creeks. The bad part about it is that most of the water here comes from the mountains, and I don't do cold water well. So the other day, my family and I went tubing. You know, we got some blow-up tubes and we went down a lake. We were so cold. I mean, it was scorching hot, but the water was so cold. We complained the entire time, and what should have been a fun afternoon, I think we spent just complaining about how cold the water was, but it's okay.
Family building activity.
Yeah.
There you go.
The family that complains together.
There you go.
Absolutely. Hey guys, so look, let's get to a couple of quick headlines. As President Trump's operation to secure the nation's capital continues, he sent Vice President J.D. Vance into the field to meet with National Guardsmen and to give them a bit of a pep talk.
Look at what's happened in Washington, D.C. in just the past 9 days. We've seen a 35% reduction in violent crime. We've seen over a 50% reduction in robberies. We are seeing really substantial effects because these guys are busting their ass. So I wanted to come here, highlight what they're doing, say thank you in person, obviously pass out a few burgers. But most of all, just send a message to the American people. Look, we don't have to live like this. We do not have to allow our cities to be taken over by violence, by disorder, by chaos.
Attorney General Pam Bondi says since the Trump administration's takeover of Washington's Metropolitan Police Department, there have been at least 465 arrests for everything from homicide to drugs to gun offenses. Well, there is reporting out this morning claiming that President Trump is taking a step back from the Russia-Ukraine peace negotiations. The Guardian newspaper reporting that the commander-in-chief plans to move forward with a trilateral meeting only after Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky have met one-on-one. He reportedly intends to encourage the two sides to organize a sit-down, and if that goes well, he'll put together a meeting of all three leaders. Meantime, the White House is out with a statement saying, quote, Trump and his national security team continue to engage with Russian and Ukrainian officials toward a bilateral meeting to stop the killing and end the war. It's not in the national interest to further negotiate these issues publicly. Texas is expected to have a new congressional voting map by the end of this week or early next week. On Wednesday, the Republican-led Texas State House passed the controversial redistricting bill along a party-line vote. A state Senate panel passed a similar map earlier this week, which is expected to hit Governor Abbott's desk in the coming days. All of this is happening following a 2-week delay when House Democrats went AWOL in order to try and avert a vote on the measure. That, of course, is expected to give Republicans a marked voting advantage in congressional districts. Democrats have criticized the new voting map, calling it racist and meant to disenfranchise minority communities in the Lone Star State. In the meantime, they're counting on California's redistricting effort to make up for the potential Democrat seats that will be lost in Texas under this new map. It all comes down to the balance of power in Congress. All right, folks, let's get to today's top story now. A federal judge in New York rejected the DOJ's request to release the Epstein grand jury transcripts. Judge Richard Berman said the information in those documents pales in comparison to what the Justice Department already has. For further discussion, let's welcome to American Sunrise, Steve Gruber. He, of course, is the host of America's Voice Live and a good friend of the show. Steve, good to see you, my friend. What do you make of this judge's assertion that the Justice Department has more information than anything he could release?
Well, you wonder about that because it's all out there, and look, nobody thinks that the information isn't there, it's just what can be released. What is available is what they can release right now. Look, I don't know what's in these grand jury testimonies, but generally speaking, grand jury testimony doesn't get released. That's kind of the rule. Now, would we like to morbid curiosity? It's like driving by a car wreck. Do we want to see what's going on? We want more information? Yes. But we also have to respect the process a little bit here. We have to respect the process to see where it goes. And does anybody really care that much? I mean, I want people held accountable for breaking the law. I do. I want people held accountable for what they do wrong. I do. But you can't upset the system and violate the norms just to get what you want, because there's a group of people in this country that violate norms every day trying to get what they want. They're called Democrats. I don't think I want to follow that path. Just saying.
Steve, I just want to follow up a bit. Does anyone care that much? That's kind of the premise of your rhetorical question. I guess my counter question would be, don't people care who might potentially be involved? That's really, I think, at the heart of what people want to know. Yeah, it's like going by that accident and watching to see what's going on. But people in this particular case want to see who's inside the car.
Well, there's truth to that. There is. And we do want to know. But there's a process to do it properly. Look, because you don't want people impugned, tarred and feathered, reputations ruined. Because remember the old saying, where do I go to get my reputation back? Once it's ruined, whether it was accurately ruined or not, it's gone. I mean, just look at Jeffrey Epstein. Anybody that he's around, you were with Epstein, therefore you're tarred and feathered. Here's what I know. There was one president whose picture was on the wall of Epstein's fancy mansion in New York City. Right? One, wearing a blue dress. Wonder what he knows about Bill Clinton. Would I like to know? Sure, I would. But I also want the norms. But that tells you everything you need to know about the people that were in his orbit, right? Yes, we'd like to know who's in the car, but we also want to protect the victims. We don't want to impugn and smear and destroy the reputation of people that were just passers-by, if you will. Look, pedophiles should be taken out and dealt with. And you can pick your poison on that. They should be taken out and dealt with, no question about it. People that violate children, that traffic in children or in young women, whatever it is, I don't care how you define it, it's vile. It's evil, if you will. But we also have to respect the process of the people that are not vile and not evil don't get labeled as such. It's a delicate place to be.
Isn't there a danger, though, Steve, in protecting the people who could get caught up in this and their reputations be ruined, even though they didn't do anything with a child? Isn't there a danger that in protecting them, we are also protecting the very guilty? Because the reality is that no one has been punished for crimes perpetrated on children, the rape of children. And now we have some of those children who are dead or disappeared. And there are families out there without their loved ones because of some of these people. And so isn't there a danger? I'll just say this, I've been to people's parties and things that I don't necessarily know everything about. If I thought for 1 second that it would tarnish my reputation to get to punishing people who have committed crimes against children, it wouldn't take me 3 seconds to make that decision. And Steve, I know you, and I know you feel the same way. So
I do.
If we just put it all out there, aren't we a smart enough American people at this point to go,
no.
Okay, well, just because someone, but is that more important?
Here's why.
Than making sure that the person who did rape the child is punished?
Yeah, well, and look, I get your point. I do. But no, we're not smart enough. You know why? This thing right here on my desk. It's full of, fake news, fake accounts, fake attacks, fake videos, once your name is out there, if you're a target of this group or that group, right, left, center, doesn't matter. If your name ends up on a list, it doesn't matter if you're innocent. No, we're not smart enough to figure it out because there's so much filth. They flood the zone. And if let's take the easiest target of all, Donald Trump. Well, Donald Trump's name is on there. Now we've got Donald. I mean, I see it every day. Donald Trump was a pedophile. And based on what? There's no evidence for that. Of course there's not. It's just a smear job. It's continuous. It's an old-fashioned manure spreader going through the lawn and just launching, fecal matter in every direction, hoping to smear anybody you don't like. That's the problem. So it's not a matter of whether we're smart enough. It's a matter of if the filters are good enough to clean out those that didn't do anything wrong from those that did. We know that Donald Trump knew Jeffrey Epstein. We also know that he threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. I mean, this is an easy example.
Right.
Because of what he was doing there. But is that going to be the same for somebody who's lesser known? Do they have the ability to keep their name clean from the stench of all this? I mean, it's a concern. Look, if I had met Jeffrey Epstein somewhere and shaken his hand, and there's a picture of it, Oh, Gruber was with him. See that? There's Gruber with him. Gruber's, and then you just get labeled, and lives get ruined, and families get ruined. Divorces happen. Terrible things come from that. It's a terrible predicament. You want the truth because you want the pedophiles, but at what cost to people that are innocent?
Wow, Steve, we had a lot of topics scheduled to talk to you about, but this conversation just has really, really dominated here. Why?
Okay.
You think that the White House would want to be transparent about this? I mean, the Trump administration has been the most transparent that I've seen in my lifetime. It just seems very off-brand for what they're trying to do.
Well, they've tried to release some of it. Judges keep saying no, don't they? I mean, that's in the headlines. And again, at what cost? Who do you sacrifice on the altar who's innocent to get to the guilty? That's a question you have to. Who do you sacrifice? And look, we've lost 300,000 kids that came over the border. We found about 13 or 20,000 of them back. But look, here's part of what the problem is. I think that they oversold it, they being the Trump administration on the front end. They oversold it. You're showing the pictures there of phase 1 books. There wasn't anything new in that. We know that now. It was oversold. And then they realized, and I said this from the first time we talked about this, how much of these files have been salted. And I mean salted with names that don't belong there, or making guilt by association references, or trying to impugn people. I don't believe for a second that Donald Trump has any impure relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And yet those on the left call him a pedophile every day. He can take it. But what about lesser people? People that don't have the financial wherewithal or the ability to blast through it. I mean, Donald Trump is let's be honest, a one-of-a-kind individual. And he can plow through this stuff. Other people, they don't have.
Oh, okay. It looks like we lost Steve there, but it was an interesting conversation, ladies. I was gripped to my TV screen, just kind of watching him and listening to the points. I'm still kind of taking it all in.
I'm worried if we apply this to the Epstein case, we can apply it to any case. We can't go after these people because it could tarnish people who are innocent. I mean, to me, I worry that could be transferred to anything we look at, T.
No, I think there's good points on both ends. And as I said, I'm still trying to process it all and make sense of it because there were good points made on either side of the argument. All right, we're going to wrap that conversation up. Steve, if you hear us out there anywhere in land, we appreciate you being here. Coming up here on American Sunrise, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is teaming up with HHS Secretary RFK Jr. for a fitness challenge. So do you think you can do 50 pull-ups and 100 push-ups in under 10 minutes? I'm going to go on and put it out there. I can't. But we'll show you if they were able to do it. Stick around.
Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be seeing this. Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be seeing this. Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be using this. Particle 6-in-1 Face Cream for Men, the first of its kind anti-aging cream designed specifically for men. Fights eye bags, dark spots, and wrinkles. Visit ParticleMen.com and use the promo code on your screen to receive 25% off your entire order. Plus, we've got free shipping and a 30-day money-back guarantee. www.ParticleMen.com. Because seeing is believing.
Stay tuned to get a free automatic toilet bowl cleaner from Mermaid. Your sink stopper's broken, and fixing a drain is a pain. Introducing Mermaid Drain Magic, the instant solution to most broken drains. Just remove and replace. In seconds, you can fill and drain with a simple press of a button. Drain Magic makes replacing your old, broken, rusty, even missing sink stoppers fast and easy. Drain Magic's anti-clogging basket helps prevent clogs in your sink, catching hair, food, even jewelry. Made with brass and chrome, chrome and a silicone gasket, it creates a watertight seal. Order your Mermaid Drain Magic today for only $19.99 and get a Mermaid Toilet Bowl Cleaner absolutely free. Drop it in the tank for up to 3 months of cleaning. But wait, this could be your last chance to get Drain Magic at this low price with free toilet bowl cleaner. There's a strict limit of 3, so order now.
Call 1-800-519-4303 or visit GetDrainMagic.com. So call 1-800-519-4303 or visit GetDrainMagic.com. Order now.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm American Sunrise contributor Emily Finn. It's great to have you with us this morning. Time now to drain the swamp, and this morning we are flushing out California Senator Adam Schiff. Schiff has come under fire after claims he reportedly approved leaking classified intelligence to hurt President Trump during the Russia probe. Just the News is reporting that Schiff told an intelligence staffer to not worry about the leaking. Schiff also reportedly said it could be prosecuted by the Constitution's speech and debate clause for lawmakers. This piece in the Federalist lays out how shifty Adam Schiff could face prosecution for this and if immunity could apply. There has been debate if leaking classified information falls under the clause. For more, let's bring in Dr. Gina and Terrence. You know, Dr. Gina, hopefully there's a little bit of accountability, at least an investigation. So many allegations against Schiff.
Oh, the temptation right now to go back to our last argument and say, but innocent people could be implicated, so maybe we just shouldn't investigate this. I really, really think that we don't want to go down that road. I worry that bad people are just going to continue to walk free in the interest of defending people who are accused who are innocent. And I'll say, there is nothing worse. Everyone has been in a position at one point or another where you are innocent and you are accused of something you didn't do. That is a horrible feeling. And in this particular instance with Epstein, it would be horrible. But you know what? I honestly, I don't care that much. I do care. I mean, that's not how our justice system is supposed to function. But I believe we can work that stuff out. People like Schiff, who we don't need this information, Emily and Terrence, to know that this guy is a bad guy who's done bad things and needs to be punished for those things. So I personally hope that he is punished to the letter of the law, and any innocent interns or anyone that goes down with him, you know what? More power to our justice system, in my opinion, Terrence.
You know, I still believe in the justice system, and so I want to see an investigation that is unbiased and simply follows the facts and follows the evidence. And if and when that evidence turns up wrongdoing, then absolutely, I think he should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. But let's get the investigation finished and make sure that the evidence proves or bears out whatever it bears out and moves forward with that. I know we all kind of have seen in the court of public opinion, we've seen what we believe is evidence that says one thing, but let's let the authorities do the actual investigation. And then once that's done, and if it in fact does bear out what many of us assume, then prosecute the man to the fullest extent of the law.
You have a lot more confidence in the court system than I do, Terrence. I don't trust him. I don't believe in the justice system anymore until it's restored by Republicans, and I'm very nervous about that. But what I do agree with you 100% on, Terrence, is that the court of public opinion ultimately, I believe, will weigh in and make some of these wrongs righted. Emily.
Yeah, well, Adam Schiff, he already has set up a legal defense fund, so I think he's gearing up for some kind of a legal battle. I think investigations are certainly on the way. Coming up, we're headed down to Wall Street for the opening bell, an insight into how to hold on to your hard-earned dollars with some common sense. We'll be back with more American Sunrise in just 2 minutes.
Thinking about long-term care? Think AMAC. Rosemark Advisors, the financial division of AMAC, specializes in alternative solutions for long-term care planning. We help AMAC members prepare for future healthcare needs without compromising their retirement goals or financial security. But that's not all AMAC has to offer. AMAC is America's leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization. So when it comes to long-term care and so much more, think AMAC.
Tired of the hassle and high costs of selling a home? We can help. At Ideal Agent, we'll connect you with a top local agent that'll sell your home fast, for top dollar, and all this for as low as a 2% commission.
We got the top dollar for our house and the lowest commission that I could have imagined. The house sold in 2 days. It was so exciting for us.
Ideal Agent is available nationwide, there's no obligation, and best of all, our service is completely free. Call today or visit idealagent.com.
A heart attack? Do they have life insurance?
No.
But we have life insurance. John.
I'm trying to find something we can afford.
Fortunately, in only a few minutes, SelectQuote found John a $500,000 policy for only $29 a month. And his wife Anne a $500,000 policy for only $21 a month. Go to SelectQuote.com now and get the insurance your family needs
at a price you can afford. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
1600 Pennsylvania, the White House there. It is 9:22, which means that it's already a beehive of activity. The president probably has been up for many, many hours working, and when the president is up, everyone else needs to be up and working as well. We're getting ready for the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. It's going to ring here in about 7 minutes. I can tell you that pre-market trading not looking so hot at the moment. Look at that. The Dow, S&P 500, and the NASDAQ are all in the red. There's really only one bright spot there on our board, so hopefully that will change the moment the opening bell rings. We'll take you there to the New York Stock Exchange here in short order. First, though, let's get you over to Emily Finn. Hey, Emily.
Hey, Terrence. All right, it is time for our daily dose of dollars and common sense with American Sunrise Early Edition host and the guy behind the Jake's Takes Substack, Jake Novak. Jake, always great to have you on the show. So the last of the big retail chains to report is Walmart. We've been doing this for the past couple of days here. Want to get their report card. How did the biggest brick and mortar chain in America do on its sales?
Well, I think they did well. You know, their sales were up. Now, again, compare that to Target yesterday, which beat the sales estimates, but still down from last year. Walmart up almost 5% on their sales from this time last year. So that's really good news. But if you're checking your portfolio, look, Walmart shares are down this morning in the pre-market because they've got some other internal issues going on right there. They have some lawsuits that are going through. They have some restructuring, but they are very optimistic about the future there. They raised their profit and their sales guidance for the rest of this year. So they're looking at some strong numbers. Despite the tariffs, despite all the doom and gloom, this Walmart number is definitely good. And by the way, it makes Target, by comparison, look even worse. If Walmart could increase its sales, then why the heck couldn't Target? Of course, a lot of right-wing and left-wing boycotters at Target will answer that question, but Walmart looking pretty good, even though I think it's going to be down today. But remember, take a bigger picture outlook on Walmart.
Yeah, years ago, Amazon overtook Walmart as the biggest retailer in America. And you have a story that's another example of how they keep growing.
Yeah, they keep growing because they steal other people's business models, which is legal to do. I mean, and they beat them at it. Here's the latest example. Hertz, the used car company, is going to now start selling their used cars when they, because eventually they sell them away on the Amazon Autos marketplace. So what company is getting their business model stolen from this? This is Amazon really getting into Carvana's business. Now, a few months ago on this program and also on my own show, Early Edition, I talked about how Carvana is in trouble because Amazon is getting into their business. And you know what that happened? You know what happens when they do that? Carvana's actually, their shares actually went up after I said that. They're down. They were down yesterday and going to be down today, though. I think people are getting to understand now what's really going on here. But for Hertz to go to Amazon to do this is a big shot in the arm for Amazon, yet another business that they'll expand. And Hertz got a nice boost in the market yesterday. They were up 6% based on this deal. So a lot of people feel like Hertz is going to get more sales out of this.
Well, Jake, the last company I want to talk about here with you, Bed Bath & Beyond. They're not exactly growing, and now the chain says it's definitely not opening up another location in California. For that, they got a real nasty gram from Gavin Newsom. Tell us about this drama, Jake.
You know, what goes around comes around. I know a lot of the viewers that think, oh, Bed Bath & Beyond, that's the company that kicked out, My Pillow and all that. I mean, They got woke and they got paid for it. They got hit a lot by Amazon. Bed Bath & Beyond is absolutely an Amazon victim. They're not opening a lot more stores these days. In fact, they're closing more. But they did say yesterday they're not going to open another store in California because the crime there, because shoplifting is excused in that state for the most part, and also because of other business reasons. And then Gavin Newsom, the governor of the state, instead of saying, hey, let's sit and talk, not only to you guys, but other businesses, see what we can do. I mean, the guy's supposed to try to make things better in his state. He decides to slap them back by saying, you guys are all bankrupt and you're losers anyway. I mean, this guy is very, very nasty. This is a company that's struggling. They're telling you that they're struggling, among other reasons, because of crime. And again, as much as we might be smiling about this company that went woke and got paid for it and got slammed for it, still, what about the other businesses in California that aren't woke, that can't make a profit because of shoplifting or because of the high taxes? And Gavin Newsom is laughing at them. But I got to tell you, Emily, Democrat-based voters love the nastiness of Gavin Newsom. They like it. He seems to think this is going to get him elected. It might not get him elected nationally, but I wouldn't be surprised if his polls go up among Democrats in those primaries because they like nasty, and he's giving it to him.
Nasty is the perfect word. I usually use slimy to describe Gavin Newsom because his hair is just so gross and slicked back, but nasty is a good word. Jake, let's get political here for a second. Have you been seeing, it's interesting that you say that the Democrats they like Gavin Newsom. They like this nasty attitude because the tweets, the X posts that he's been putting out in all caps are the most unfunny thing I've ever seen in my life. Do you really see this playing out well for him?
Well, this is partly because of a miscalculation. Again, I think the base angry Democrats do like it. But the country overall, the Democrats think, the reason why you like Donald Trump is because he's so mean sometimes in his posts. Some of us do enjoy the truth that he puts out there sometimes, but that only works for him. You can't copy that. If you're a Republican, you can't copy that, let alone a Democrat. And I think the big question, though, right now, though, is will the Democrats even have an open primary process? They haven't really had democracy within the Democratic Party since 2008. That was the last time there was a real primary process for their presidential candidate. So we're coming up now on, it'll be 20 years in 2028. And I think they're going to look to choose someone. So Gavin Newsom is running now. You might say, those elections are far away. He's running now for the DNC's nod because I don't think they're going to let the voters choose. And the DNC might like this nasty approach.
Frankly, Jake, I think he's been running for president for years at this point. He's certainly neglecting California's needs. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we'll see you again tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right. Let's head back to Terrence in Denver for the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange, all sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
We're keeping an eye on the stock markets for you as the opening bell there at the New York Stock Exchange is set to ring in less than a minute from now. We, of course, will take you there when that happens. As you can see, it's already been an up and down morning in pre-market trading. The Dow is now in the green, just barely, but it is in the green. If you may remember, just moments ago, probably about 7 minutes ago or so, it was in the red. The other indices, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, are down at the moment. The rest of the board also not looking too great. But again, we'll see exactly how things look once the bell rings. You can see ESPN and the Disney company, which of course owns ESPN, at the podium right now. They are applauding, and momentarily you will hear the bell ring, and then we'll get a better sense of how this Thursday of trading is going to get underway. So right on cue, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The bell is ringing, which means the markets are now officially open. And just like that, the Dow is back down into the red. If you may remember in pre-market trading, just literally a minute ago or so, we showed you and it was in the green, and now it's back down to the red. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ also in the red. Really only one bright spot on our screen right now. But hopefully at the end of the day, all of the spots will be bright and will be profitable for you. If you're stressed out about back taxes, maybe even you missed the April deadline or your books are a mess, don't wait. The IRS is cracking down. Penalties really add up fast. We're talking 5% per month up to 25% just for not filing. There is help, though. Tax Network USA can take the burden off of your shoulders and stop the spiral before it gets worse. They've helped thousands of Americans, whether you're an employee, a small business owner, or if you haven't filed in years. If you've got messy books, no problem. They've seen it all, and they know exactly how to clean it up. With direct access to powerful IRS programs and expert negotiators on your side, Tax Network USA really knows how to win. You'll get a free consultation, and if you qualify, they may even be able to reduce or eliminate what you owe. More importantly, they'll help protect you from wage garnishments or bank levies. So don't wait for the next IRS letter. Instead, call 800-905-8000 or visit tnusa.com/RAV to talk to a real expert at Tax Network USA. Take the pressure off and let Tax Network USA handle your tax issues for you. Coming up here on American Sunrise, President Trump sure knows how to put together a strong cabinet mentally and physically. In moments, the challenge between Secretaries Hegseth and Kennedy. That's coming your way when American Sunrise continues.
Hi, I'm Cade Courtley, and welcome to the Ford Patriots Buy One, Get One Solar Generator event. Claim the Patriot Power Generator 2500X, and you'll get a free Patriot Power Sidekick with 2 free solar panels. These are 2 of Ford Patriot's newest silent, fume-free solar generators that can power your fridge, TV, and critical devices without ever needing gas. Every American should have the peace of mind that comes from having backup power. Visit FordPatriots.com to secure your free generator and solar panels now.
What do you do when your tire goes flat and there's no air anywhere? You reach for Bullseye Pro, the smarter, faster, hands-free way to fill it up with air. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable lithium-ion power plant. So fast and so convenient. It's like the power of an air compressor in the palm of your hand. Look, you can inflate all 4 tires on a single charge. It has a built-in smart pressure digital sensor that gauges and automatically stops when the set tire pressure is reached. Easily inflate pool toys, exercise balls, and more. Call or go online now and get the complete Bullseye Pro inflation system for the factory direct price of just $79.99. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free, and we'll give you a 50% discount on a second one. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-976-9718. That's 1-800-976-9718, or go to getbullseyepro.com.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active? Introducing the EasyWell Remedy Massage System, a triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax. The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it. Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
I want to open by letting you all know that Dr. James Dobson, of course, he was the founder of Focus on the Family, advisor to 5 presidents. He passed away at the age of 89. Without him, I can honestly say I don't know that my children and my family would be the same. He was an icon to those of us who were trying to raise young families. And Focus on the Family has been always a resource. Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. Gina. Thanks for joining us this morning. We invite you to join our conversation on Getter and Rumble. It's time now to take the political pulse of America. The Beat today, 2 Trump administration officials are teaming up and challenging you to get healthy. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and HHS Secretary Bobby Kennedy are releasing a video this week showing how hard work at the gym can actually really pay off for your health. The Pete and Bobby challenge consists of 50 pull-ups and 100 push-ups in under 10 minutes. Both Hegseth and Kennedy agreed their new initiative helps further both departments' missions to improve the fitness of our military and make all of America healthy again. I saw some others joining in the action. I talked to Gianno Caldwell last night, and I asked him if he was going to take the challenge. He said yes. Saw our transportation secretary doing it. Is becoming all the rage, and I am going to challenge Terrence Bates to be the next one to take the fitness challenge. Emily, welcome back to the show, too. I'm not going to put you in the position, Emily, because, we girls, we work a lot. We have to fit those workout routines in really short time because we work a lot doing our makeup and our hair and all that. But Terrence, I mean, you don't have the makeup and hair
I'm out of breath
problems.
right now. Yeah, definitely don't have the hair problem, and I wake up just like this. I'm going to claim that. I'm out of breath right now, Dr. Gina, because I was able to finish that challenge in under 2 minutes. Instead of pull-ups, I did push-aways from the table, that would be, and instead of sit-ups, I sat at the table, back at the table, and I was able to complete all of that 50 times and 100 times in under 2 minutes. So I think I'm ahead of the curve right now, Emily.
I was going to say, Gina, can we do the girl version of the push-ups where you kind of it's like a half push-up, but I like the Terrence push-ups better. That sounds really easy. I think I could do that.
Push away from the table. I mean, I could do that, especially if there's casters on my chair, the little wheels, half push-up while the boys are doing their push-up contests on the floor. So there's all sorts of ways to cheat it. But you know what? Hegseth and our HHS secretary, they weren't cheating it, you guys.
No, certainly not. Can I ask you guys, though, when you work out, do you wear jeans? Do you see RFK Jr. wearing jeans to work out here? That just looks uncomfortable.
I am with you on that. I knew something didn't look quite right. We're going to have a little talk with him about that. He needs on we should send him some Rav shorts. Maybe he'll wear those next time.
I love that idea, Gina. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I tried the other day, I was in not really a competition. My daughter was doing some pull-ups. There was a bar and she did some pull-ups and I was like, oh, I can do that. I'm going to show you how. I had forgotten how difficult it is. And obviously I've gained some weight since the last time I did a pull-up, but it's challenging. It's not as easy as one might think it is. So doing 50 in and of itself, that's tough. But even getting 2 or 3 out, I was like, oh my God, I really need to work out. It was a challenge.
Anyway, I love that they brought back this presidential fitness test. I'll tell you guys, because look, a lot of people aren't good at it. A lot of people are going to fail at it. That's true. You're going to have some winners and you're going to have some losers. Not everyone gets a trophy when you're doing. But this is great training. There are so many people I've talked to in my life, and you ask them where they got their motivation to found their amazing company or to write this amazing book or whatever it is they've done. And often you'll hear the comment, I failed the presidential fitness test when I was a little kid, and I decided I better do something, because losing feels horrible, and I didn't want to do that again. So guess what? Bootstraps, and I maybe wasn't good at fitness, but maybe I was good at calculus, and I became a rocket scientist. So there you go. It really is. We've gotten so far away from what made America great, and this is a piece that I believe will go farther than we think at first blush to making America great again.
Well, Dr. Gina, I'm going to change the subject now because you've put me to shame. I was terrible at calculus, and I definitely wasn't good at fitness either. So I don't know what my future was going to be. So let's switch gears. And Dr. Gina, as we're talking, yeah, exactly. You do have a future, kid. You do have a future. Dr. Gina, I understand you've got some really exciting news to share with us here on American Sunrise. You actually co-authored a new children's book, and I want to welcome in to American Sunrise Jim Mosley. We, of course, call him the Bible history guy. The both of you teamed up to write and publish The Days of Creation by Heart, teaching children how God made the world. Jim, Dr. Gina, congratulations on the new project. Jim, I want to start with you. How did this idea, what motivated this idea? How did this come to pass?
Well, these are little poems that I made for my children as they were growing up, because I found that if you stuck me up in the middle of the night and asked me what happened on day 4, I wouldn't have been able to answer. So I created little mnemonics that would allow the kids to remember things like the days of creation, the 10 Commandments, and so on, so that it would stick with them for the rest of their life.
Yeah, so Jim and I were on the phone one day, and we were talking about this, and I think maybe you would send along a poem or something, and I said, we should do a series, because what you remember, Terrence, are the things that your parents read in a book. And my kids and I were talking about this just the night before Jim and I, Dr. Jim, by the way, and I had the conversation. And my kids said something along the lines of, we know all these things by heart. 1 baby, 2 baby, pick me a blueberry, out of books, night, night, moon, good night, moon, from when they were little, all the things, but none of that really matters a lot in life. So what about writing a children's book that's easy to absorb, easy to remember, has sort of a mnemonic device rhythm, and making sure that kids can remember it. So then Jim and I decided to take it one step further. And we also remembered another thing about our kids and their books. We were just kind of reminiscing on reading to our kids and what it meant. And another thing was that our kids always wrote in the books. Remember that, Terrence? And and you hate it then, right? You're like, don't you write in books? Da 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 da. And guess what? Now, and Terrence, your kids are old enough to see this too. Now those are your favorite books, the ones they wrote in. So we're like, let's make this a book that is interactive, that the kids can write in, and then let's make it presentable as a gift so that they can then give it as their gift to the grandma that they read with, or the aunt that they read with, or the mom or dad that they read. Because it's hard to come up with kids' gifts, for mom's birthday. What are you going to do? Well, you give them the book that the child decorated about the days of creation. So this is the first in a 17 series of books. Wow. Yeah.
17. Hey guys, so look, obviously I get the lessons and the importance of the lessons, but one of the things that struck me in just listening to you, Dr. Gina, is the time that parents will be able to spend with their kids reading through these books. That seems to be so priceless, and that in and of itself creates an atmosphere, if you will, that's rooted not only in Jesus, but rooted in the family that Jesus calls us to build.
It's so true. One of my sons last night, we were kind of going through something with one of my other kids, and he said, Mama, we got to bring back the family dinners. I know everybody's busy, but just plan it. I said, you know what? Done. That is done. Thank you for reminding me. That time together is so critically important. And one of the ways that my children and I spent a lot of time when my kids were really young was watching VeggieTales. So Dr. Jim and I hired the illustrator, the animator, Mike Sofka from VeggieTales, and that's who actually did the book. We were pretty proud of that too, Jim, right?
I think so. And, Dr. Gina really deserves a lot of credit for turning this into an embryonic idea, into a tool that can really be a family event. It can really be something that children will carry with them for the rest of their lives. And I think it's important for people to know that when you're teaching your kids Genesis, you're not teaching them a myth or a fable. You're teaching them scientific fact. Sure. We're used to fake news. Well, there's also fake science. And the Bible is the most enduring scientific book of all time. Galileo famously said the Bible tells us how to go to heaven, not how the heavens go. So the Bible is not a science text, but it is accurate, even though it portrays creation in a poetic way.
Jim, run us through these 17 books. What can we expect throughout the series?
Well, we're going to do the 10 Commandments by heart, the 12 Disciples by heart, the Proverbs 31 Woman by heart. We're going to do the 12 Sons of Jacob by heart, the gifts of the Spirit, the fruit of the Spirit, all these things that are really important.
The books of the Bible,
teaching of Scripture, that we want kids to grow up knowing by heart, making it part of their consciousness and part of their ethical framework.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dr. Jean. You were also adding the books of the Bible. There will be a book running through the books of the Bible?
Yeah, that was something that I learned, actually, and a lot of you know I'm not Catholic, but I went all the way through Catholic schools, and that's one of the things I really appreciate about the Catholic schools is we memorize the book of the Bible. So when my pastor says, open up to this book of the Bible, I can actually do it without the cheat tabs. I do have the cheat tabs. I'm just going to say, but it is nice. And I'll tell you what, to get to write a book with the Bible history man who is now a doctor at Liberty University, changing the absolute world, is the honor of a lifetime for me. I am so excited about this. And I want to say, too, to everybody that a portion of our proceeds will go to my foundation. They all have names that is founded with my son, Samuel, who has Down syndrome, that helps families adopt children with special needs.
That's right.
Wow. All right, guys. So you had me at VeggieTales. You talked about the illustrator of VeggieTales being involved in this project, which of course leads, at least for me, to the question: will this book series ultimately be turned into some sort of animation or animative series, something like that? Is that potentially a consideration down the road? And if not, I just gave you the idea, so I want some of the proceeds.
Well, unfortunately, the idea has already been hatched. And through some very good friends that Dr. Gina introduced us to, I think that is a distinct possibility.
Oh, I love it. Okay. I was just going to say, stay tuned, like a typical news avoider. But Dr. Jim's like, yeah, we're going to do that. Yeah. It's been a great fun doing it. And I'll tell you, our publisher is incredible to work with. Jim has been just inspirational, and this is a blessing. We hope that this book can just bless generations of children, help them memorize the things that matter in life alongside their parents, train them up in the way they should go. When they're old, they will not depart from it. That is absolutely our theme. We just wish many blessings on anyone and everyone who bothers to take the time to read this series of books to their children. Again, this is just the first one that has been released to date. More to come, Terrence.
Hey, very quickly, for people who are watching this and saying, I want to get that for my kid, my grandkid, where can they go ahead and purchase or make their order?
Well, it's distributed by Simon & Schuster, so you can get it anywhere books are sold. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. You can get it online at Amazon. You can just, Google the title, Days of Creation by Heart, and you'll see many options for buying it. I think Christian Books also has it now.
Beyond Words is our publisher, and they have a direct link, and I believe a little bit of a better deal, perhaps, on their site than some of the other places. But yeah, Amazon, anywhere. It's everywhere. It'll be everywhere. And you know what? Thanks again. And thanks to Zen Master for letting us talk about our book. And thanks again to you, Jim, and Terrence, for the great interview.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. You talked about a good deal, Dr. Gene. I think I better have the best deal out there since I know both of you, but I'm just going to put that out there on the table. Anyway, guys, thank you so much and continued success with your series. Still ahead here on American Sunrise, when tragedy struck a restaurant owner in Wisconsin, a group of her teen employees came together for her family and to help out the business. The incredible story of perseverance is next.
Your social security number is the key to your identity. Good thing it's completely random and impossible to guess, right? Think again. The first 5 numbers are based off of publicly available information, and you're asked for the last 4 all the time. It only takes a single vulnerability at your bank, hospital, or employer for criminals to gain access to the last 4 digits, putting you and your financial future at risk. If you're a victim of identity theft, LifeLock will step in and fix it so you don't have to, guaranteed. Our dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialists handle your case from start to finish. They contact institutions on your behalf, dispute fraudulent charges, and more. In fact, we're so confident that restoration is guaranteed. Plus, LifeLock offers the $1 Million Protection Package with coverage up to $3 million. Call 1-800-895-4819 or visit lifelock.com/TV1 to get 35% off your first year. Enroll now.
Tired of the hassle and high costs of selling a home? We can help. At Ideal Agent, we'll connect you with a top local agent that'll sell your home fast for top dollar, and all this for as low as a 2% commission.
We got the top dollar for our house and the lowest commission that I could have imagined. The house sold in 2 days. It was so exciting for us.
Ideal Agent is available nationwide. There's no obligation, and best of all, our service is completely free. Call today or visit idealagent.com.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Let's spill some tea.
All right, welcome back to American Sunrise. Let's spill some tea, fueled by Artillery Tea Company, the only America First veteran-owned tea brand, and their mission to maximize flavor with whole leaf blends in chemical-free tea bags. No junk, just real tea. And here's the tactical advantage. Each bag brews twice. Just go to artillerytco.com and use the code STACK and SHIP for free shipping with the purchase of 2 or more items at checkout. That's artillerytco.com. Premium tea, mission-driven, brewed for the brave. It is time now to spill some tea, and in the cup today, former First Lady and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. The headline, Hillary Clinton faces ethics complaint targeting her law license over Russiagate. The group, Democracy Restored, has lodged the complaint with the Arkansas Bar this week. They're asking for a formal review of Hillary Clinton's conduct as a licensed attorney. specifically citing her actions during the 2016 race for the White House. The complaint alleges that Clinton's campaign deliberately amplified unverified and unvetted information to damage her political opponent, according to Fox News. It further claims that Clinton herself approved a plan to use this information to smear her rival and divert attention from her own legal issues at the time. This complaint comes on the heels of the Senate Judiciary Committee's release of previously classified documents related to the Russiagate investigation, which Democracy Restored says shed more light on Clinton's role. They argue this new information demands an inquiry into Clinton's fitness to practice law in Arkansas. The Arkansas Supreme Court Office of Professional Conduct confirms that they have received the grievance and will process it according to standard procedures. For a quick conversation, let's bring in Dr. Gina and Terrence Bates to react to all of this. I mean, do you think we're going to actually get some accountability here, Terrence? I mean, this seems like it may not go anywhere.
You see this face?
I know. That's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see, again, for me, accountability is someone needs to be prosecuted. Again, if the evidence rises to the point of something criminal, then someone needs to follow up on that evidence and prosecute someone. I'm not so confident that the investigation is going to be a thorough investigation. I suspect that there is evidence that shows some sort of wrongdoing, but I am just not confident that there is in fact going to be a thorough investigation that would potentially lead to some sort of prosecution. So that's why you get the face. Yeah, probably not. Dr. G?
How does someone so blatantly criminal still have a law license in the state of Arkansas? I mean, that was my first thought. Emily, did that strike either of you? Like, she still has a law license after everything she's done? I don't know. I hope we can end the era of crime in politics, and I hope we can hold our politicians far better accountable going forward. At the end of the day, the burden may be on all of us to just learn from this and make sure it never happens again.
Yeah, never again.
I'm with you, Dr. Gina, but isn't crime and criminality unfortunately baked into politics these days? Like you don't think so? I think so. We'll have to agree to disagree. I think it is. That's
so dangerous. The minute you say that, you breed a cynicism that lets people get away with being criminals because that's what politicians do. No, it isn't. And the sad thing is there are a lot of really amazing, ethical people. We have them on the show here every day. And it is not baked in. No, absolutely. Never accept that. That's a lie of the left to try to get you to overlook their crimes.
That's why you got to turn in to Rev. We have the ethical people on our network. We got to go, you guys. But coming up, we have a lot more for you on American Sunrise. Stay with us.
Hello, my friend. Pat Boone here. You know our country's under financial assault like never before. Our government has put us $34 trillion in debt. The interest alone is more than we spend on military defense. And what's worse, other countries no longer believe the U.S. is a safe place to invest. There's a growing international movement to dump U.S. dollars at a record pace. Some economists say this may signal the end of the dollar. Now, these countries are instead buying gold, and I'm suggesting you do the same. My friends at Swiss America have been helping Americans like you and me for over 40 years. To buy physical gold and silver for delivery to our homes or held in our IRAs. I've trusted Swiss America for nearly 25 years now, and you can trust them too. So don't wait. Call or text the number on your screen today for financial peace of mind in these troubling times.
He became one of the world's greatest leaders. He changed the course of history. Now, Lech Walesa, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, is coming to North America on his first ever Grand Lecture Tour. Be part of this historic event. Meet the global leader live on stage as he takes you behind the scenes of history's greatest turning points and the greatest challenges of our time. Join the conversation that will shape our future. Register now at historyexplorer.com.
What's your plan, huh? Do you have one? talking about what is your plan for a reliable source of power when the next emergency strikes. Well, check this out. It's called the Patriot Power Generator 2500, and right now it's $500 off at 4 Patriots. See, they took a page out of the military's playbook for portable solar power, and now we get to use it in our own homes. What's even better is that this solar generator can power critical appliances like your fridge, your microwave, and your CPAP machine, so that you're prepared for whatever emergency strikes next. Go to 4patriots.com now and save $500.
All right, welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thanks so much for joining us today. It is time now for our Sunnyside Up. And in the pan today, a group of teenage restaurant workers displaying tremendous work ethic when their place of employment was going through a really rough time. When the co-owner of Wisconsin's Urban Olive and Vine restaurant suffered a seizure, leading to a months-long hospital stay, actually. Her more than 30 teenage employees stepped up, essentially running the restaurant all by themselves in her absence. Carol was running the restaurant alongside her husband, Chad, but sadly she did pass away in May. She never did come back to work after her seizure. But while leaning on each other for the support upon the heartbreaking news about their boss, the teens handled all of the restaurant's responsibilities, from waiting on tables to cooking the food to restocking supplies and even the restaurant's finances. They're all, get this, you guys, between the ages of 14 and 18 years old. And they say their employers have always made work feel like family. Take a look.
It's a family here.
Carol and Chad's family.
Carol always offered help with like school homework and just like life in general.
Carol and Chad sponsored their pageants and never missed their school sports and performances.
It's almost unfair for it not to be reciprocated back to them.
I mean, we didn't know at the time my wife was dying. And they just thought they were helping out because she needed help. You know, they needed things covered until she came back.
Carol did not come back. In May, she died at 58.
She was just a really amazing person.
Lily and all the other teenagers attended Carol's funeral. Then the teens got back to work, still pausing occasionally so they can lean on each other.
I knew we would all not do good today.
All right. Wow. Amazing story. I love that so much. It gives me faith in the teenagers again, right? That they would step up like that. We have to wish a special happy birthday. I called Zen yesterday and we talked about what amazing things this guy has done in the last year of his life. So happy.
My birthday's until a couple of weeks. You're not talking about me. My bad. Okay, my bad.
Happy birthday to Colin, who works hard, loves Jesus, and reminds us to pray every day. Right, T?
Absolutely. Happy birthday, Colin.
Very happy.
Hey, Colin. Pastor Todd here. Hope you're doing good. Man, listen, I was at Young Adults last night and I was looking for you, and then Rob told me you're out of town.
You're working with Parker, and Parker, I've talking to Todd and telling him what great job you guys were doing, and that Colin's dad is there.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
Don't be so hard on Uncle Harry.
Come on,
we love you.
Good to see you guys.